Chapter 957. He can do it first. Yes, we'll go now. Go get Yao Wang, we'll go now. Qibing said. Alright, I'll go now. Sihua nodded. Where are you guys going? A voice rang out, scaring Qibing and Sihua. Lin Yi. Qibing froze as he looked at the newcomer in disbelief. Who else could it be if not Lin Yi? Are you guys looking for me? If so, there's no need to go. I'm here. Lin Yi looked at Qibing with a mocking look. Your legs healed. No wonder you're jumping around so happily. Looks like you're better off sitting in a wheelchair. What do you mean? Lin Yi, you're crippled. How dare you come here? Are you tired of living? Qibing couldn't help but feel troubled after hearing Lin Yi's words. Was Lin Yi out of his mind? He could tolerate his arrogance when he was strong, but now that he didn't have the strength, how could he be so arrogant? Who told you I'm crippled? Lin Yi looked at Qibing, a little surprised. Are you dreaming? Can't you tell reality from a dream? Are you hallucinating? Qibing was stunned by Lin Yi's words, but he remembered that Lin Yi was crippled, and he was the one who sent people to test him, so it shouldn't be a lie. With that thought, he forced himself to calm down. Lin Yi, stop pretending. I'm the one who found the baldy in the parking lot of Starlight Hotel. I know your background like the back of my hand. You're trying to scare me. Is it because Pingzhan has no other choice but to send you to stop me? Oh. Lin Yi frowned. So it was Qibing who sent the baldy. If I'm not wrong, Pingzhan is probably packing his things and planning to run away, right? Did they send you here to buy time? Qibing saw the frown on Lin Yi's face and thought that he'd hit the nail on the head. He continued to use his reasoning skills, but Lin Yi, aren't you an idiot? Why are you so stupid? You're still working for Chu Pingzhan in this kind of situation. How much does he pay you? I asked you to scare me because I wanted you to be my cannon fodder. Do you think that you can leave now that you've come? Don't you know that I've wanted you dead for a long time? Oh, Uncle Chu didn't ask me to come, I came on my own. Lin Yi mercilessly denied Qibing's reasoning. Quack. Qibing paused. I know, you've always liked that girl, Meng Yao, right? You sacrificed yourself for her. Am I right? Sigh, since ancient times, servants have been affectionate. They were willing to die for the young miss. I didn't expect to see the modern version. Wow, this is so touching. Your legs are healed, what's wrong with your head? Lin Yi looked at the arrogant Qibing and shook his head regretfully. Looks like you'll still have to sit in a wheelchair. If your IQ continues to develop like this, you'll end up in a vegetative state. Fuck, what did you say? Qibing slammed the table and pointed at the wheelchair behind him. Lin Yi, how dare you say something like that when you're here? Do you really want to die? You want me to sit in a wheelchair? Do you know why I didn't throw it away after using it? Because you already knew that it would be useful. Lin Yi looked at Qibing, surprised. Ha! You're not stupid. You knew that I prepared this wheelchair for you. Qibing laughed. That's right, I'll let you come in standing and leave in a wheelchair. Oh, it's not me who's stupid, it's you. Lin Yi shook his head regretfully. You're wrong. I thought you were like Prophet Shu, a prophet soldier. I knew you'd have to sit in a wheelchair. Yao Wang. Take control of this kid, I'll break his legs myself. Qibing was furious. In his imagination, when he saw Lin Yi again, Lin Yi would kneel down and beg him with tears and snot. But Lin Yi was still so arrogant even though he had lost his strength. This created a huge gap between Qibing's dream and reality, and he was extremely pissed off. Although he could take revenge on Lin Yi now, it wasn't as satisfying as that. Yes. The king pharmacist replied. He had already heard the commotion and was waiting by the side. Although Yao Wang wasn't good at fighting, taking down Lin Yi, who had lost all his strength, was a piece of cake for him. Yao Wang was the one who was most confident that Lin Yi had lost all his strength. He was the one who analyzed and deduced that Lin Yi had lost all his strength. So Yao Wang grabbed at Lin Yi without any hesitation. But in the next moment, he realized that he couldn't grab Lin Yi. Ha! You're still running so fast when you've lost your strength. Yao Wang looked at Lin Yi, who was dodging to the side, and said in disbelief, "You're quite good at escaping, aren't you? You can run if you can't win, but it's a pity that your legs will be crippled by Master Bing in a few days. No matter how good your Qigong is, it's useless. Right, Master Bing?" Ha! He had been with Master Bing for a long time and learned his laughter. He was able to imitate it perfectly. However, after Yao Wang finished speaking, he looked at Master Bing, but he didn't see Master Bing laughing out loud as he expected. At this moment, Master Bing's eyes were wide open as he looked at him in shock. This made Yao Wang confused. "Master Bing, what's wrong? Your body." Master Bing's eyes were wide open as if he had seen a ghost. He pointed at Yao Wang and said in disbelief, "What's wrong with my body?" Yao Wang lowered his head in confusion and looked at his body. But when he looked, he was shocked. Haha. The king of medicine was shocked to discover that his entire body had been pierced with numerous silver needles. He suddenly remembered that when he tried to catch Lin Yi, he felt a faint prickling pain all over his body, but he didn't care at that time. Because he was a medical student, he knew that the human body would sometimes have nervous itching and prickling pain. This was not a rare thing, so he didn't care. But now he realized that it was not the case at all. What did you do to my body?" Yao Wang looked at Lin Yi in shock, his face full of horror. "Nothing. Aren't you good at harming people? I heard that you wanted to poison my house." Lin Yi shrugged and said innocently, "So I had to make the first move. But I heard that you're very powerful, so you should be able to deal with it yourself, right?" Chapter 958. Who told you that? Yao Wang subconsciously circulated his pure energy to check. However, he didn't notice anything strange after circulating his pure energy. However, the more he felt, the more worried Yao Wang became. Because Li Dilei's energy was suppressed by Lin Yi's silver needles. He couldn't feel anything if he didn't remove the needles. "It's nothing. Aren't you the miracle doctor, Xiao Yao Wang?" A mocking smile appeared on Lin Yi's lips. "It's spreading like wildfire on the internet right now, so I believe that you'll be able to deal with it." Is it the same as Li Dilei's pure energy needles?" Yao Wang asked in shock. "Oh, more or less, but I modified it a little." "It's not the same as last time," Lin Yi said. "Didn't you notice that the needles were inserted into your meridians?" Yao Wang's expression became even more shocked. "What will happen?" "It's nothing. I've compressed my pure energy and sealed it in your meridians. You'll be fine as long as you don't pull it out." Lin Yi smiled. "Of course, you can pull it out too." "So what?" Yao Wang's face darkened. "Isn't your strength gone? How can you still have pure energy? Why are you as dumb as that idiot Zhao Qibing? You're on his side after all, taking things for granted." Lin Yi curled his lips. "May I ask, who told you that my strength is gone?" Yao Wang thought. "Who told me? Didn't I guess it myself? If you pull out the silver needles, then my true qi will explode in your body with a bang." Lin Yi said exaggeratedly. "After that, your meridians will be destroyed, and your strength will be greatly reduced. After you pull out all the needles, your meridians will be destroyed, and congratulations, you can practice physical arts from now on. Lin Yi said exaggeratedly, after that, your meridians will be destroyed. This was a bad idea that Lin Yi came up with after his meridians were damaged. He used it on Yao Wang. However, to deal with a person like the Medicine King, it was impossible not to hurt him a little. Impossible. The Medicine King's face suddenly became sinister. You're lying, you don't even have your strength, you're just using a few silver needles to pretend, you don't have any innate chi, I can't feel any innate chi fluctuations in your body. Ha, my strength is higher than yours, of course you can't feel it. Lin Yi thought to himself, you're not me. A normal inner force expert can only see the opponent's strength when they circulate their true chi. Even if the opponent's strength is much higher than the opponent's, they can still see the opponent's strength at a glance. Otherwise, unless you have a golden finger like Lin Yi, you can see the opponent's strength. Bullshit. You don't have any strength left. The Medicine King was the one who was most certain that Lin Yi had lost his strength, so he did not believe that Lin Yi still had any strength left. If you don't believe me, then forget it. You can pull out a silver needle and try. Lin Yi said indifferently. So be it. You think I don't dare? The Medicine King said as he stretched out his hand to pull out the silver needle in his chest, but when his hand touched the needle, he paused for a moment and moved his hand to his left leg to pull out the needle. Lin Yi secretly laughed, but did not say anything. Even though the Medicine King shouted that he was not afraid, he still did not dare to pull out the silver needle in his chest. One must know that near the chest was the main meridian. If it was destroyed, then his strength would directly drop from Mystic class to Golden class. The left leg was not important, the innate chi stored there was very little. After the meridian was destroyed, at most the left leg would not be able to use innate chi, but for an expert like the Medicine King who was not good at fighting, it was not important. The Medicine King directly pulled out the silver needle in his leg, and the result was immediately dumbfounded. With a loud sound, he felt as if his left leg was about to explode. The meridian in it was instantly destroyed by Lin Yi's huge innate chi. The Medicine King screamed and staggered, almost falling to the ground. The Medicine King's face changed from pain to fear. He looked at Lin Yi, beads of sweat dripping down his face. Impossible. This is impossible, why didn't you lose your strength? Medicine King cried in his heart. What was wrong with Lin Yi? Was he pretending to be weak? He didn't lose his strength, why didn't he show it in the parking lot? He made him think that Lin Yi had lost his strength. At this moment, Qibing and Siwa were dumbfounded as well. What? Lin Yi didn't lose his strength. In other words, Lin Yi was still as strong as before. Fuck. Zhao Qibing remembered the words he said to Lin Yi before, and he wanted to slap himself a few times. His mouth was too dirty, his mouth was too dirty. With Lin Yi's temper, he was done for. I'm still confused, who told you that I don't have any strength? Who told you that? Or are you imagining it? Lin Yi looked at Medicine King mockingly. Medicine King's face darkened. I'm not imagining it, am I? He couldn't help but ask bitterly, you have the strength, why didn't you use your chi in the parking lot? Why would I use my chi against a few thieves? Lin Yi shook his head, plus, it's mine, I can use it if I want, I can't use it if I don't want to. Why do you care so much? Medicine King was speechless. Lin Yi was right, the chi was his, he didn't care if he wanted to use it or not. But he still asked, before that, I went to Pingzhan Industries to find trouble with Pingzhan. Chairman Chu, why didn't you stop me? Oh, fine, I just pretended that I didn't have any strength, I wanted to see who was trying to harm me, and then I'll step on them. Lin Yi shrugged, admitting it. Fuck. Medicine King couldn't help but curse. Had he been played? Had he become someone who was trying to harm him? And so Lin Yi stepped on him. He only had himself to blame, who else could he blame? Medicine King felt a wave of sadness in his heart, then my needles. What should I do? Medicine King smiled bitterly. Aren't you very strong yourself? You can try refining my chi, or wait for my meridians to break, then you can repair them. Lin Yi said, right, I forgot to tell you, I can repair meridians. If your meridians are broken, you can ask me to repair them. You can repair meridians? Medicine King looked at Lin Yi in shock. Chapter 959. You got lucky. No wonder, no wonder. The Medicine King looked up to the sky and let out a long sigh. If not for the silver needles on his chest and body, he would have pounded his chest and stamped his feet. But he still said sadly, no wonder my prediction failed. Ma Zhu was in such a miserable state, how could you be fine? So you can heal yourself. It's not too late to understand now, Lin Yi said. But, can you help me repair my meridians? Medicine King looked at Lin Yi with a face full of hope. Sure. Lin Yi nodded. Ah. The Medicine King stared blankly for a moment and almost cried out in front of Lin Yi. Could Lin Yi really help him repair his meridians? But my fees are definitely more expensive than a quack like you. Lin Yi said, 1 billion for 1 meridian. There are 7 meridians and 8 meridians in a martial artist's body. There are a total of 15 main meridians. You can give me 15 billion. I'll give you the other auxiliary meridians. The Medicine King rolled his eyes and almost fainted from anger. 1 billion meridians. Why didn't he just rob someone? Don't think it's expensive. Do you know how many heavenly materials and earthly treasures I have to spend to repair one of your meridians? Maybe my master will have to come personally. My master will have to pay for the journey, right? Lin Yi started to spout nonsense. The Medicine King remained silent, despair written all over his face. Lin Yi shrugged and ignored Yao Wang. He turned to Xiao Qibing, it seems like you haven't given up yet. The building has collapsed twice. Don't you know that there are some people you can't afford to offend? It'll be troublesome if you do. I am Lin Yi boss, I was tricked by House Yun Xiao family, that's why I did something like this. In fact, I'm scared of you. The expression on Qibing's face was very interesting. In order to save his life, he had no choice but to endure the humiliation. Zhao Qibing knew very well that Lin Yi could do anything, so he pushed all the blame onto House Yu and Xiao family. He didn't believe that Lin Yi would dare to do anything to House Yu and Xiao family. After all, Lin Yi might not know the power of the hidden aristocratic families, but he definitely knew that the aristocratic families of the common world were not to be trifled with. Besides, House Yu had the support of a hidden house, and although the Xiao family was down and out, Zhao Qibing didn't believe that Lin Yi would dare to touch them. After all, if Lin Yi were to touch the Xiao family, the other aristocratic families would definitely sympathize with him. Perhaps they would be the next ones to be affected, and they wouldn't sit idly by. Yu Bide is dead, and so is Uncle Pai. Lin Yi said faintly. Ha! Zhao Qibing heard Lin Yi's words and almost fell on his butt. What's going on? Lin Yi even dared to kill someone from House Yu. From Zhao Qibing's perspective, no matter how arrogant Lin Yi was, he would only touch the Xiao family, not House Yu. He didn't think that Lin Yi would even dare to kill someone from House Yu. Wasn't he being too ruthless? This guy didn't play his cards according to common sense at all. Moreover, he was completely unscrupulous in his actions. Wasn't he afraid that others would take revenge on him? That's right, this time, he pretended that he had lost a lot of his strength and attracted some people to take revenge on him. In the end, the people who took revenge were taking revenge on him. No one from your family has died yet, so I'm here. Lin Yi looked at Zhao Qibing and said with a smile that wasn't a smile. Boss Lin Yi, there must be some misunderstanding between us. Zhao Qibing was so scared that his legs couldn't move, and his whole body was trembling. The smile on his face was ugly. Look, if I wasn't bewitched, I wouldn't dare to cause trouble for you. Please don't be impulsive, don't be afraid. Before I kill someone, I usually give them a chance to choose. Lin Yi waved his hand and interrupted Zhao Qibing. I gave House Yu and Shao family 2 conditions, but they didn't agree, so there's nothing I can do. I agree. Zhao Qibing nodded. Your condition, I want double, Lin Yi said faintly. My condition. Zhao Qibing's face changed, and he smiled bitterly. I want Pingzhan Industries real estate company, but I don't have 2 real estate companies. If I did, I wouldn't need to ask for someone else's, then you can only die. Lin Yi said, but you're different from House Yu and Shao family, you're saying that you want Yao Wang to poison us. No, why would I dare to poison you? Zhao Qibing quickly denied. Lin Yi, I was the one who gave the order. Master Bing didn't mean to poison you. I was just afraid that Pingzhan wouldn't listen to me. That's why I said that. Sihua gritted his teeth and stepped forward, deciding to take the blame for Zhao Qibing. Zhao Qibing didn't show up at the time. He just needed to take all the responsibility, and perhaps he would be able to shift Lin Yi's anger onto himself. Oh, it's you. You're the one who wanted to poison Uncle Chu's family. Lin Yi looked at Sihua and asked. That's me. Sihua nodded. Oh, then I'll kill your family too. Of course, that includes Zhao Qibing, Lin Yi said nonchalantly. Wah. Sihua paused, but this has nothing to do with Master Bing. Oh, when you wanted to kill Uncle Chu's family, you didn't think it had anything to do with Yao Yao, so I don't think it has anything to do with Zhao Qibing either, Lin Yi said. Sihua was speechless. Did he stand up and take the blame for nothing? Boss Lin Yi, I don't have a real estate company, but can I use my money to pay off my debt? Zhao Qibing was scared when he heard that Lin Yi had killed Yu Bide and Uncle Pai. He believed that Lin Yi would kill him for sure. Oh, that's fine, Lin Yi smiled. Forget it, I'll give you a discount. 200 million is fine. Aw. 200 million. Zhao Qibing's face turned bitter again. I only have 150 million. This 150 million was taken from Jining Jun and Jiang Wen. It had only been a few days, and now it was going to be gone. 50 million, huh? That's fine, you break your own leg and I'll give you 50 million, Lin Yi said. That. Qibing hesitated. Although his leg was just healed, it would be too painful to break it again. But when he thought about it, he would be able to save 50 million and keep his life. It was a good deal. He was just sitting in a wheelchair for a while, it didn't matter. He gritted his teeth. Fine. Sure. Sihua, get a metal rod for Boss Lin Yi and break my leg. That. Okay. Sihua wanted to say something, but thinking about Lin Yi's personality, he shook his head and went out to get the metal rod. Chapter 960. Chapter 958, swearing to the wheelchair. A trace of humiliation flashed across Qibing's eyes as he gritted his teeth. Sihua, do it. With that, he pulled up his shirt and bit it into his mouth before sitting on the wheelchair behind him. But Sihua didn't dare to do it. Hurry up, my time is limited. If you don't do it now, I'll get a comminuted fracture. Lin Yi said impatiently. Sihua, do it, this is an order. Qibing shuddered as he gave the order. Sihua had no choice but to grit his teeth and smash the metal rod down on Qibing's left leg. With a crack, Qibing screamed in pain. His left leg was broken. Sihua raised the metal rod again and smashed it down on Qibing's right leg. With another crack, Qibing's right leg was broken as well. Qibing was in so much pain that he wanted to roll on the floor. Remember to transfer the money. Right, breaking one leg is enough. Why did you break two? Lin Yi shrugged and left the floating cloud bar. That. Sihua froze. He hated Lin Yi to the core. Why didn't he say so earlier? He didn't break both of Qibing's legs at the same time, but he did it separately. Why did he have to wait until after he was done? Wasn't he doing it on purpose? If Master Bing were to blame him, Lin Yi, Xiao Qibing, swear to the wheelchair that if I don't kill you, my surname isn't Xiao. Qibing endured the pain and waited for Lin Yi to leave before saying viciously, remember this, I, Xiao Qibing, am a man of my words. Master Bing, I'm sorry. Sihua quickly apologized for breaking both of Qibing's legs. It's none of your business. Qibing waved his hand and rolled his eyes before fainting. Lin Yi didn't return to Mingyao's villa after leaving the floating cloud bar. Instead, he called Tang Yun. He had to explain to Tang Yun. Perhaps today's result would disappoint her, but Lin Yi had no other choice. At the same time, he didn't want Miss and Shu to leave. Although he didn't spend a lot of time with them, after spending every day with them, Lin Yi had really fallen in love with them. Hello. Lin Yi, are you on the train? Tang Yun knew that Lin Yi probably left last night, but she was afraid that if she went to send him off, someone would see her. It was better to let Lin Yi leave secretly and not be seen by his enemies. No, I'm in Songshan, Lin Yi said. You didn't leave. Tang Yun paused. What's wrong? What happened? Where are you? Let's talk when we meet. Lin Yi sighed slightly and said. I'm at school. It's lunch break right now, Tang Yun said. Then I'll go to school now. Lin Yi turned the car around and drove towards the school. Pin Liang and Xiaofu just came out of a restaurant in front of the school. The school had covered up Pin Liang's crimes, but even so, Pin Liang and Xiaofu didn't dare go to the cafeteria. The cafeteria's chef knew the inside story, and it'd be bad if they said something wrong. So they went to a nearby restaurant for lunch every day. With Pin Liang's family background, they could afford it. Liang bro, isn't that Lin Yi? Xiaofu suddenly pointed not far away. Lin Yi. Pin Liang paused and looked in the direction Xiaofu was pointing at. Lin Yi was getting out of a yellow beetle, as expected. Why is he still here? How Xiu, Xiao family, and Xiao Qibing's people still haven't killed him? Xiaofu asked curiously. Yeah, why is he here at this time? He's not hiding, why is he here in public? Pin Liang frowned. Liang bro, let's go look for trouble with him. Xiaofu suggested excitedly. Look for what? Are you stupid? Lin Yi still dares to come to school at this time. There must be something wrong. Pin Liang was no longer the reckless and brainless Pin Liang he used to be. He had experienced great joy and sorrow and had evolved into a highly intelligent Pin Liang. Wait, I'll ask my dad. Okay. Xiaofu nodded and shrunk his head. Pin Liang called Fabai, and Fabai picked up the phone. Hello. Pin Liang, what's up? Dad, I want to ask you something. Did Xiao family, House Yu, and Master Bing go looking for trouble with Chu Pingzhan? Pin Liang asked. I saw Lin Yi at school. Pin Liang, don't mess with Lin Yi, do you hear me? You can't. Fabai was shocked by his son's words and hurriedly said to his son. What's wrong? Pin Liang paused. You don't know. House Yu and Xiao family were all killed by Lin Yi. And just now, Lin Yi came back from Master Bing's place. Not only did he injure Yao Wang, but he also broke Master Bing's legs. He even asked Master Bing for 150 million. Fabai said quickly. Oh my god, really? Pin Liang was shocked. Lin Yi even dared to kill Xiao family and House Yu. Don't talk about Xiao family and House Yu, even Master Bing didn't do anything. He still has to compensate Lin Yi. Fabai smiled bitterly. This Lin Yi pretended to be a pig to eat a tiger. His strength hasn't disappeared at all, but today he showed his power. This Lin Yi is so evil. Pin Liang couldn't help but sigh. It seemed like he was really smart to not mess with Lin Yi. Otherwise, he wouldn't even know how he died. Yeah, let's talk later. I'm busy. Fabai said. Just remember not to mess with Lin Yi. Got it. Pin Liang nodded and hung up. He told his father's words to Xiaofu. See? I told you not to mess with Lin Yi. Now you know how smart I am. Yeah, Liang bro, you're really smart. Xiaofu heard Pin Liang's words and couldn't help but feel scared. He wanted to mess with Lin Yi before, but now it seemed like it was the right decision. Liang bro, your IQ is really skyrocketing. You're no longer the Zhong Pin Liang from before. That's right. Let me tell you, you need to have IQ to be a bad guy. Pin Liang nodded proudly. Lin Yi has IQ, but his IQ can only fool Xiao family, House Yu, and Master Bing. Compared to me, he's still a level lower. Although she was going back to his hometown with Lin Yi soon, and she didn't know if she could see Meng Yao and Yushu again in this life, Tang Yun still wanted to perfect herself. You really haven't left yet? Tang Yun saw Lin Yi. Although she was surprised, her eyes were still filled with worry. Yeah, I haven't left yet. Lin Yi held Tang Yun's hand out of habit. Let's walk and talk. Okay. Tang Yun blushed, but she didn't reject. She had already decided to be with Lin Yi. She was also used to being intimate with Lin Yi occasionally, even in public. Tang Yun was a person who cared about her reputation. She didn't have any scandals before, but now that the whole school knew that she was Lin Yi's woman, Tang Yun was very calm. She had accepted everything in her heart. Lin Yi held Tang Yun's hand as they walked slowly under the shade of a tree. However, Lin Yi didn't say anything. It wasn't that he didn't want to say it, but he was thinking about how to start. Lin Yi understood Tang Yun's personality very well. Although she was strong sometimes, she was actually very fragile when it came to relationships. Especially with Xiaofan's example, Tang Yun protected herself like a hedgehog. She would turn into a monster at the slightest sign of trouble. This was also why Tang Yun was so guarded against Lin Yi before. But when she truly opened her heart and accepted Lin Yi, she became very careful, as if she was walking on thin ice, afraid that she would lose this relationship. Tang Yun. Lin Yi finally spoke. HM. Tang Yun turned to look at Lin Yi. I won't go back to my hometown. I will stay in Songshan. Lin Yi clearly felt Tang Yun's grip on his hand tighten. Lin Yi sighed, because my strength has recovered. And it has improved. Tang Yun pursed her lips as a trace of disappointment flashed through her eyes. But she smiled. That's a good thing. Congratulations. How could Lin Yi not feel the slight change in Tang Yun's emotions? He smiled bitterly. Are you a little disappointed? Why would I be? Tang Yun shook her head. I'm really happy that your strength has recovered. Tang Yun was speaking the truth. Although her dream of living a happy and secluded life with Lin Yi was shattered, Tang Yun was really happy for Lin Yi's recovery. Because she knew that Lin Yi cared a lot about these things. If he couldn't recover, he would definitely be unhappy. So, Tang Yun would rather be disappointed than let Lin Yi be unhappy. Thank you. Lin Yi squeezed Tang Yun's hand. Then, will you still stay at Chu Mingyao's place? Tang Yun hesitated and couldn't help but ask. Yes, I promised them that if I recover my strength, I will continue to stay at the villa. Lin Yi didn't hide it from Tang Yun. Ha! That's not bad. Tang Yun said insincerely. Anyone could see that she was disappointed. Tang Yun. Are you unhappy? Lin Yi also saw that Tang Yun didn't mean what she said. No. Tang Yun shook her head and took out a small box from her pocket and gave it to Lin Yi. Ha, I don't need this anymore. I'll give it back to you. Tang Yun took out the ring that Lin Yi gave her. Lin Yi was stunned. Why are you giving it back to me? I bought it for you in the first place. Maybe. This ring won't be mine in the end. Tang Yun wasn't confident. Chu Mengyao and Yushu's thoughts were clear to everyone. They still left Lin Yi in the villa. Did they want Lin Yi to be their bodyguard for the rest of his life? Chapter 962. Everyone's worries, don't think too much. Lin Yi took the box and took out the ring, putting it on Tang Yun's finger. What's yours will always be yours. Tang Yun was pleasantly surprised. At this moment, she forgot all her worries and happiness. Tang Yun would remember this moment for the rest of her life. Under the shade of the tree, he put the ring on her finger again, expressing his love for her. House Chu's problem seems to have been solved, but nothing has been solved yet. I'd be worried if you leave now. Yao Yao and Shu aren't hostile towards you, that's just how they are, just like how they treated me in the beginning. They'll get along well with you once you get to know them more. Lin Yi comforted. You'll get along well with them. Lin Yi comforted. Oh. Tang Yun paused. She didn't understand what Lin Yi was hinting at. Was he implying that he wouldn't give up on her even if he chose Miss? That he wanted her to get along well with them? Would she? She didn't know. If Lin Yi really chose Miss, perhaps she would. Perhaps not. But what if she didn't? Would she give Lin Yi to Miss? No, wouldn't that be what Miss wanted? Lin Yi didn't mean it, but it made Tang Yun's thoughts drift far, far away. Lin Yi was actually saying that the Miss would treat a person with kindness and care once she accepted him. I'll bring you back to see my old man during the summer after the college entrance exams, Lin Yi smiled. Tang Yun was happy again, no matter what, as long as she was in Lin Yi's heart. Why should she care about Miss? If Lin Yi didn't like her, what was the point of keeping Lin Yi around? Tang Yun asked shyly, then. What should I call him? Ugh. Grandpa then. That should be how old he is, but I always call him old man. Lin Yi said with a smile. He knew that Tang Yin couldn't just call him old man like that, it wouldn't be very polite. Yes. Tang Yin nodded. It's a good thing I didn't tell my family about this, I don't know what my mom would do otherwise. Tang Yun couldn't do anything about her mother. Lin Yi smiled. Lin Yi couldn't do anything about Mrs. Tang, but when he was pursuing Tang Yun, Mrs. Tang always stood by his side. Lin Yi was very grateful, so he didn't say anything about Mrs. Tang's greedy request. The Chu clan's troubles were over, but some people's troubles weren't over yet. Everyone who was hostile to the Chu family and Lin Yi began to panic. The Xiao family. Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben looked at Uncle Pai on the sickbed, not knowing what to say. Although Uncle Pai's life was saved after a complicated procedure, he was now in a vegetative state. You wastrel. Xiao Ji looked at Uncle Pai, who was lying motionless on the bed with tubes all over his body. He slapped Go Huli's face angrily. You didn't watch your driving properly. Now that Uncle Pai is in a vegetative state, what will our Shao family do? What will we do? Our position among the noble houses was already in danger, and now that there's no master here, the Shao family is finished. Wah! Go Huli didn't dare say anything else, only wiping her tears. Cry, you only know how to cry. What's the use of crying? Shao Ji was angry when he saw his wife. Why did he marry such a thing? The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. You're still crying, isn't this all your fault? If you didn't mess with Pengzhan's people, we wouldn't be enemies with them. If we didn't make enemies, how would we get Uncle Pai involved? Even if Uncle Pai is injured, you should at least watch your driving. Alright, bro. Xiao Ben waved his hand. Now's not the time to argue. What's the use even if you beat sister-in-law to death? What's the point? Then, what should we do? Xiao Ji sighed. He didn't know what to do, that's why he vented his anger on Go Huli. First, in order to protect our Shao family's interests, I suggest we marry House Kong as soon as possible, otherwise the Shao family's position will be at stake. However, with the support of a large financial group like the Kong family, it is still beneficial to our Shao family. At least we'll be able to get through this. Xiao Ji said. Second, we can try contacting Uncle Pai's school. He's been beaten up like this, don't you think his school can just ignore it? We need to hurry up with the marriage with House Kong. Xiao Ji nodded. But Uncle Pai's school, we don't know where he came from. Plus, wasn't Uncle Pai hit by Go Huli? If you don't say, and I don't say, we'll just say it was Lin Yi, who would know? Xiao Ben waved his hand. Even if they know it was sister-in-law, that's secondary. How could a mystic mid-phase physical practitioner be killed by a car? That's not realistic, right? That's true. But father didn't tell us where Uncle Pai came from, and he went. Xiao Ji nodded. And we didn't have time to ask Uncle Pai, did we? That's true. Xiao Ben frowned. How about this, spread the news that Uncle Pai was beaten into a vegetative state by Lin Yi, bro, but if we do that, will House Kong stop marrying us after hearing the news? Xiao Ji said worriedly. Do you think this news can be kept a secret? But Xiao Ben waved his hand and said, I reckon that before long, all the well-informed people will all know that something happened to our Shao family. That's right, there's no way we can keep this a secret. Xiao Ji nodded. He went to contact House Kong and spread the news of Uncle Pai's vegetative state. Yanjing, House Yu. Shuixing looked at the corpse of his third brother, Yu Bide, in the middle of the living room. Tears streamed down his face. Bro, why did you leave just like that? Big brother isn't home, and we're the only ones left in House Yu. Why did you leave me behind? Haitian stood at the side, not daring to say anything. House Yu had dominated the common world for so many years, and this kind of tragedy had never happened before. Everyone in House Yu didn't know what to do. Yu Kuan sat in his wheelchair, staring at his father's corpse. He couldn't accept this reality. He hadn't even recovered from his injuries, and his father had died. How could Lin Yi be so cruel? Chapter 963. Even more ruthless than you, impulsive. Shuixing waved his hand, his face dark. You're still going after Lin Yi in this situation. Aren't you stupid? Then, are we just going to let it go? Yu Feng paused. Little brother, I know you want to avenge me and my father, but second uncle is right, we can't be impulsive at a time like this. Yu Kuan was eager for revenge as well, but he understood that this wasn't the time to be impulsive. Feng, you're still young and impulsive. Shuixing nodded. Right now, Lin Yi is obviously pretending to be weak. His strength hasn't disappeared at all, and he's even improved. Not only that, the dog beside him has also become a practitioner dog. Just how great of a background did he have to be in order to be able to do this? That dog, Yukuin, had already beaten it to the brink of death. Just how many treasures would it take to heal it? Not to mention the other noble houses, even our house you might not be able to take out so many treasures, let alone using them on a dog. Plus, to train a dog into a practitioner dog, it's already hard enough for a person to train, and now they've gotten a practitioner dog. Is it because they don't have anywhere else to use the treasures, or is it because there are too many masters out there, and they're just looking for fun? Yufeng listened to his father's words and lowered his head. His father was right. From these little clues, one could see how powerful Lin Yi's background was. How could he act rashly? Then what do we do now? Just endure it? Yufeng asked, a little discouraged. All we can do now is endure. You have to remember, those who want to achieve great things have to learn how to endure. Yuan Go Jian, isn't that the epitome of enduring? Shuixing said. I'll contact your uncle about this and see if he has any suggestions. As long as the hidden house you stands up for us, we don't have to be afraid of anything, but I'm afraid that the people over there won't make a move easily. Then we'll just have to endure it for now. Yufeng nodded. The news that Lin Yi didn't lose his strength spread like wildfire. Jin Dazhou and Jining Jun were the first to know about it. When the father and son heard that Lin Yi didn't lose his strength, they were scared. They were afraid that Lin Yi would come to them. Godfather Ma, when will your master come out of seclusion? Lin Yi has not lost his strength. I heard that he is now seeking revenge from his enemies. Jin Dazhou turned pale and said to Ma Zhu, people from House Yu and Xiao family are dead, Yaowang and Zhao Qibing are injured to varying degrees. What should we do? Is Lin Yi's next target us? What? Lin Yi has regained his strength. Ma Zhu heard the news and felt that it was unbelievable, followed by a wave of sadness. If Lin Yi was crippled, he would feel better. But now, Lin Yi was fine, but he was crippled. How could Ma Zhu feel good about this? Yeah, I'm afraid that Lin Yi will come to us for revenge. Jin Dazhou said worriedly. He regretted provoking Lin Yi. Not only was his son's bloodline gone, but Ma Zhu was also heavily injured. Humph. If he dares, he'll die when my master comes. Ma Zhu laughed coldly. From his point of view, although Lin Yi wasn't simple, he was nothing in front of his master. When will Godfather Ma's master come? Can he hurry? I'm afraid that Lin Yi will come before he comes. Jin Dazhou said worriedly. My master is an Earth-class master, but according to the rules of the Hidden House Arbitration Association, Earth-class masters can't appear in the common world unless there's a reason. He already applied to the Arbitration Association. Ma Zhu frowned and said. Ma Zhu knew his own situation. He knew that the rules of the hidden aristocratic families only applied to those hidden aristocratic families. To those big sects, it was useless. In front of those super ancient sects, these hidden aristocratic families were just a piece of cake. The hidden houses couldn't do anything about it. They didn't even have the right to know about the ancient sects. But Ma Zhu's sect was very small. It was just a newly established sect. This kind of small sect would naturally be restricted by the Hidden House Arbitration Association. I see. Jin Dazhou nodded. Then what do we do now? My master said to wait for a while. When he comes, it'll be easy. Ma Zhu said. As soon as Ma Zhu finished his sentence, there was a knock on the door. Who? Jin Dazhou asked subconsciously. Lin Yi. Lin Yi said faintly. Lin Yi already knew from Zhao Qibing where Zhendazhou and his son were staying. Lin Yi. Zhendazhou jumped and almost fell to the ground. He looked at Ma Zhu with fear. Godfather Ma, what do we do? Didn't I tell you to wait for a while? When my master comes, won't it be easy to get rid of him? Ma Zhu frowned impatiently. Although he hated Lin Yi, he knew that with his current strength, he couldn't do anything to Lin Yi. Oh. Zhendazhou walked over in fear and opened the door. He forced himself to be calm. Lin Yi, what are you doing here? We're even now, right? Godfather Ma was injured by you, and my son was crippled. What else do you want? Oh, we're even now. But this time, I'm here for something new. It has nothing to do with the last time, Lin Yi smiled and said calmly. Something new? What do you mean? Zhendazhou froze. Last time, you blackmailed me. This time, it's my turn to blackmail you. Lin Yi said. Blackmail me? Zhendazhou's face changed. 500 million. I like to pay back double. You blackmailed me 250 million, so it's not a lot for me to blackmail you 500 million, right? Lin Yi smiled at Zhendazhou as if he was harmless. If you don't give it to me, I'll kidnap your son and go to Donghai to destroy all your properties. I'm good at demolishing buildings. I've already destroyed 2 of Zhao Qibing's buildings. Isn't it fun? Chapter 964. Talented girl of House Lu. Zhendazhou had never heard of a ransom like this. His face was green from anger, but he didn't dare do anything to Lin Yi. Who knew what would happen if he pissed off Lin Yi? Lin Yi even dared to kill people from Shao family in House Yu, let alone him. Plus, Lin Yi said that if he didn't pay up, he'd go to Donghai and tear down his property. This made Dazhou feel extremely humiliated. Only now did he understand what it meant to be an evil person. Compared to Lin Yi, he was nothing. 500 million. I can't take it out. Dazhou suppressed his anger and said. Oh, then give me how much you have first. Lin Yi said, write me an IOU if you don't have enough. All right. Dazhou gritted his teeth. I only have 250 million now. He knew that if he held it in, he'd have to wait for Ma Zhu's Shifu to come. How much Lin Yi wanted, he'd have to cough it up. Lin Yi was robbing him in the open, and he'd do the same. Ma Zhu's Shifu would just stand there and ask for money from Lin Yi and Peng Zhan. If he didn't pay up, he'd kill his entire family. Dazhou, at this moment, had completely forgotten about the lessons of Shao family, House Yu, and Zhao Qibing. The people who threatened Lin Yi to kill Lin Yi's family were all killed by Lin Yi. But, even if he thought of this, Dazhou didn't feel that there was anything wrong with it. As far as he was concerned, Ma Zhu's Shifu was much stronger than Lin Yi. He was an Earth-class master and had mastered the Golden Shield. Unless he was crushed by a meteor or something, normal road rollers wouldn't be able to do anything to him. No matter how strong Lin Yi was, he couldn't beat Jin Wudi, who was so much higher than him. Moreover, Mystic and Earth class were worlds apart. With that thought, Zhendazhou took a deep breath and buried this hatred in his heart. He was going to wait for Jin Wudi to get back at Lin Yi. 250 million. Lin Yi frowned. I gave you 250 million already, why do you have 250 million already? I did have money before, but I used it to treat Jining Jun. Zhendazhou's eyes were filled with hatred. How dare you ask me where the money went? If it wasn't for you, would I have spent so much money to treat Jining Jun? Alright, 250 million it is. Transfer it to this account. Lin Yi said as he gave Dazhou an account number. Zhendazhou didn't do anything. He directly transferred 250 million to Lin Yi and wrote an IOU to Lin Yi. Yanjing, House Lu. Although what happened in Songshan these days had nothing to do with Lu Tianyi paid more attention to the situation in Songshan than anyone else. Lin Yi was injured and lost all his strength. This was a piece of news that Lu Tianyi received. After the news of Lin Yi losing all his strength, House Lu exploded. Lu Zhenhu's son, Lu Tianli, came home with a long face and found Lu Tianyi unhappily. Big brother, I don't want to criticize you, but how can you just lend money like that? Our Lu family's money doesn't grow on trees. It's earned by me, every single cent. You're the heir of the house, and if you want to borrow money, I'll lend it to you without hesitation. But when you borrow money, shouldn't you investigate if the person has the ability to repay? I heard that Xiao family, House Yu, and the hidden house's bastard Master Bing are all going to cause trouble for this Lin Yi. It's hard to say if he'll even be alive when that happens. How can he repay the money? Tianli, you need to look at the long term. Even if Lin Yi doesn't have his martial arts, he still has his medical skills. It's only a matter of time before he returns to the top of this world. Lu Tianyi wasn't too worried about the situation in Songshan. What's the use of medical skills if he's dead? Lu Tianli said, unconvinced. Dad, I think Uncle's right. This Lin Yi, if he's really as amazing as he says, then he'll be able to provide us with a helping hand in the future. A young girl beside Lu Zhenhu interrupted. House Lu started with business and politics, but we don't have any practitioners. This is a hindrance to House Lu's development. We may have a marriage alliance with House Wu, but we're still too weak. We need to find a new helping hand. Sometimes, we need to gamble. This 100 million can be seen as a gamble. If we win, we'll get unimaginable benefits. If we lose, we'll just think of it as 100 million. If Dad doesn't feel good about it, then deduct it from my bonus. This young girl was Lu Tianli's daughter, Lu Jinghan. House Lu's genius, she started doing business with Lu Tianli when she was 15. To the outside world, Lu Tianli was the one in charge of House Lu's business, but those who knew the inside story knew that this 15-year-old girl was the one in charge of House Lu's business. She started her business at 15, doubled House Lu's business at 16, and doubled it again at 17. Right after her 18th birthday, Lu Zhenhu allowed her to participate in House Lu's meeting. Lu Zhenhu had already treated Lu Jinghan as the third generation of House Lu. The only regret was that she was a girl. If she were to become the head of House Lu, then unless her child was surnamed Lu, they wouldn't be able to become the next head of House Lu. They'd have to pick someone else from the family. Tianli, Jing's right. We have to look at the long term. Lu Zhenhu spoke up as well. If Lin Yi gets through this successfully, then House Lu will have built a good relationship with Lin Yi. House Lu will benefit greatly in the future as well. You may be good at business, but you're not as good at the big picture as Jing. You still have to learn. Yes. Father. Tianli heard that his father had spoken up, and naturally, he wouldn't say anything more. After all, he admired his daughter a lot. Chapter 965. Making friends with a love rival. Yeah, Tianli, if it weren't for Lin Yi, father wouldn't be this healthy right now. So, this 100 million, even if it's to thank him, what's the harm? Lu Tianyi said. I understand. Tianli nodded. However, while House Lu was in the middle of a meeting, news came from the other side. Lin Yi didn't lose his strength, but was pretending to be weak. Yu Bide was dead, Uncle Pai was in a vegetative state, and Zhao Qibing's leg was broken. House Lu's couldn't help but look at each other when they heard the news. Lin Yi was at a disadvantage just a moment ago, so how did he turn the situation around in the next instant, turning from passive to active? Plus, wasn't Lin Yi a little too ruthless? He even dared to kill House Yu's Bide, and even Xiao family's Uncle Pai was in a vegetative state. Even the hidden house Xiao Qibing's leg was broken by Lin Yi. Ha! This Lin Yi, he tricked us all. He was pretending to be weak all this time. We were worried about him for nothing. Lu Tianyi couldn't help but let out a long sigh of relief. Lin Yi was fine, so House Lu was the happiest. Lin Yi would probably remember that 100 million, and he wouldn't mistreat House Lu in the future. Indeed, I was short-sighted. Tianli sighed in self-mockery, but this Lin Yi sure is ruthless, isn't he? What he did, didn't he offend House Yu, Xiao family, and the hidden House Xiao? Wouldn't House Lu be in trouble if we get in touch with him? Lu Tianyi fell into deep thought after hearing Tianli's words. The situation was indeed complicated. Lin Yi, House Yu, and the Xiao family were mortal enemies, and this hatred couldn't be resolved. If House Lu still stood on Lin Yi's side, wouldn't that put them in a passive position? With House Lu's current strength, it wasn't appropriate for them to become enemies with House Yu and Xiao family at the same time. Jing, what do you think? Jinhu didn't make any comments. Instead, he looked at his granddaughter and asked for her opinion. I think it's time to disclose the fact that Lin Yi saved Grandpa. Lu Jinghan pondered for a moment and said. Oh. Tianli paused, not understanding the connection between these two things. His daughter's question was completely irrelevant. Tianli was the conservative type. It was okay to keep a business, but it was hard to start a business. Wonderful. Jing, you are indeed the talented daughter of our Lu family. Lu Tianyi suddenly clapped his hands and laughed. Lin Yi is the benefactor of our Lu family. It's only right and proper for us to be close to him. Otherwise, it would be repaying kindness with enmity. We helped Lin Yi for a reason, and even if House Yu and Xiao family knew about it, they wouldn't be able to say anything. I see. Tianli said, understanding dawning on him. That's right, although many of the noble houses do some dirty things behind the scenes, they still care about face and reason on the surface. We, House Lu, are indebted to Lin Yi, and if we don't stand on Lin Yi's side, then we'll be disloyal. Jinhu nodded. Let's do as Jing says. Yes, father. Lu Tianyi and Lu Tianli agreed. Lu Jinghan, on the other hand, didn't look happy or pleased at all. She stood quietly behind Jinhu, but a trace of suspicion flashed across her beautiful eyes. Was this Lin Yi really pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger? Was there something she didn't know about? What a strange person. Lu Jinghan shook her head. She wasn't sure if this 100 million was enough to exchange for Lin Yi's friendship. Lin Yi went to Zhendazhou for the money after parting ways with Tang Yun, giving him Pengzhan's account. After Dazhou transferred the money, Lin Yi returned to House Chu's villa. The villa's door was already brand new, and the broken parts were repaired, but the cement wasn't dry yet. Pengzhan didn't go to the company yet, but went to Faubert's room. Lin Yi's injuries were healed, and his strength had returned. Could he cure Faubert? Lin Yi had lost all his strength, and Pengzhan couldn't ask Lin Yi to cure Faubert. He could only bring Faubert with him when they were escaping, and let Lin Yi think of a way. But now, everything was in the past. Pengzhan wanted to ask Lin Yi to see if he could cure Faubert. The Miss and Yushu, on the other hand, were sitting on the sofa in the living room, whispering to each other. Why isn't Shield Bro back yet? What's he doing? Yushu looked at the clock in the living room, calculating the time. He's probably going to see Tang Yun. He's not going back home anymore, so he has to go talk to her. Meng Yao knew Lin Yi very well, he treated Tang Yun very well. Oh, I wonder if Tang Yun will be disappointed. Shield Bro's going to be with us again, she'll probably faint from anger when she hears about it. Yushu said excitedly. Shoo, don't talk nonsense. Meng Yao spoke up for Tang Yun for the first time. Actually, Tang Yun is very selfless. She can give up everything here and go back home with Lin Yi. This shows that she cares about Lin Yi a lot. Since she was chosen by Lin Yi, then we should accept her when we accept Lin Yi. Oh, then Yao Yao sis, do you accept Tang Yun as Shield Bro's second wife? Yushu asked. What do you mean by second wife? Meng Yao glared at Yushu and frowned. What I mean is, we can all be good friends, at least we won't be at each other's throats like we are now. How can a love rival become good friends? Yushu asked curiously. Who's the love rival? I told you, I don't like Lin Yi. Meng Yao said. Oh, Yao Yao sis, you're lying. Yushu didn't believe it. Okay, then let's say I like Lin Yi. It's just an example, it's not real, Meng Yao said. Meng Yao said, but you like your Shield Bro too, and you want to be his concubine. Are we rivals in love then? Ugh. I think so, Yushu shook her head. Then are we good friends? Meng Yao asked again. I think so, Yushu nodded. Then why can't we be friends with Tang Yun? Meng Yao asked again. But... Yao Yao sis, what you said is just an assumption. You said you don't like Lin Yi, it's not real, Yushu said. Yeah, if it's not real, then we aren't love rivals, right? Meng Yao was pleased with herself. She finally got Yushu into it. Oh. Yushu was a little confused, she shook her head, then be friends with her, I don't care, it's good enough to be a second wife. Chapter 966. Borrow and return. As the saying goes, a palace maid who doesn't want to be an empress isn't a good palace maid. Yushu said. Then why are you still a small wife? Meng Yao was confused after hearing Yushu's words. I'm not done yet. But, a wife who doesn't fight for the first wife is a good wife. Yushu added. Meng Yao rolled her eyes, speechless. The two were talking when Lin Yi pushed the door open. He saw Meng Yao and Yushu in the living room, but Peng Zhan wasn't there. Uncle Chu left already. No, Daddy's in Faubert's room. Meng Yao shook her head. Lin Yi, you didn't go to school. Oh. Lin Yi was slightly startled, not understanding what the eldest miss was referring to. Actually, Meng Yao wanted to ask Lin Yi if he went to see Tang Yun, but Lin Yi didn't understand. She couldn't say it out loud, so she just said, it's nothing. Peng Zhan heard the conversation in the living room and walked out to see Lin Yi. Lin Yi, do you have anything else to do now? No more. Lin Yi shook his head. By the way, Uncle Chu, I've asked Jindajo to transfer 250 million back to your account, but 100 million was borrowed from Lu Tianyi. You have to return it to him. Ah. Money's coming in already. Peng Zhan's eyes widened. Yes, I told him that if he didn't give me the money, I would kidnap his son and raise his businesses in the East China Sea. Then, he gave me the money, Lin Yi said casually, as if he was talking about something very ordinary. Peng Zhan was speechless after hearing Lin Yi's words. He could get money like that. This Shindajo is really a coward. Where did the domineering attitude he had when he kidnapped Yao Yao and asked for money go? But now, Peng Zhan understood that the so-called dominance was something that could only be displayed in front of those who had no strength. Just like himself, he didn't know what to do when facing the kidnappers, didn't he, too, not knowing what to do. Jindajo, on the other hand, had probably lost his temper because of Lin Yi's threats. Who asked House Yu, Xiao family, and Zhao Qibing to learn from their mistakes? No matter how stupid Jindajo was, he wouldn't go against Lin Yi at this time. Shield bro, you're amazing. How did you get money like this? If you don't like someone, you can just scare them for money. Yushu said excitedly. Shoo, don't talk nonsense. Extorting someone is a crime. Meng Yao stopped Shu from continuing. What I'm saying is that Shield Bro specializes in extorting bad guys. Yushu added. It's better to be like that, you bide, slapping him to death. Meng Yao said. Yao Yao sis, you're even more vicious than me. Yushu exclaimed. Lil E, since there's nothing else, can you take a look at Faubert's injury? Pingzhan waved his hand, telling the two girls to leave Lin E alone and asked Lin E. Uncle Chu, I came back in a hurry to take a look at Faubert's injury. Lin E said, let's go, we'll go now. Oh, okay. I'll ask the accountant to transfer the money to Lu Tianyi. Pingzhan received a notification from the bank and asked Lin E. And, transfer it. I'll call Lu Tianyi. Lin E nodded. Okay. Pingzhan replied and went to handle the transfer. Lin E dialed Lu Tianyi's number. The Lius were having a family meeting and had just come up with a strategy when Lin Yi's call came in. Lu Tianyi quickly picked up, hello. Miracle Dr. Lin, hello. Mr. Liu, I've used up the money. I'm preparing to transfer it back to your account. Please check when the money arrives. Thank you for your trouble. Lin Yi said gratefully. House Lu's generosity at this time made Lin Yi look at them in a different light. His impression of Lu Tianyi improved a lot. Godly Dr. Lin, you're too kind. What's there to return? You can just take it and use it. Aren't you looking down on our Lu family by returning it? Lu Tianyi heard Lin Yi's words and felt a little disappointed. Miracle Dr. Lin, do you not see me as a friend anymore? Why would I? If we weren't friends, I wouldn't have asked Mr. Liu. Lin Yi said calmly, but there's a saying that goes, it's easy to borrow again when you've borrowed it. If Mr. Liu doesn't want it anymore, I won't dare to ask Mr. Liu again. Is that so? Lu Tianyi hesitated. He smiled bitterly and nodded, all right. Since Miracle Dr. Lin insists, I'll do as you say. Hee, but to thank Mr. Liu for your generosity, I can help you or your friend with a free treatment. Lin Yi naturally wasn't someone who didn't thank others after using them. Naturally, he had to give Lu Tianyi some benefits. How? How can I accept that? Lu Tianyi was flattered and disappointed at the same time. After all, Lin Yi returned the money and promised House Lu a treatment. That meant that he was even with House Lu. This made Lu Tianyi, who wanted to build a good relationship with Lin Yi, fail. Hee, it's nothing. Lin Yi smiled, that's all for now. I still have something to do here. Alright, Miracle Dr. Lin, I'll leave you to your work. Lu Tianyi hung up and sighed helplessly. What's wrong, brother? You don't look too happy. Lin Yi already returned the money. What's not good about it? Tianli roughly understood what Lin Yi was talking about. Not only did he return the money, but Lin Yi also promised House Lu something. Why didn't he look too happy? Lin Yi transferred 100 million back to my account. Lu Tianyi smiled bitterly, plus, Lin Yi promised me that he could give House Lu a free treatment, that's a good thing. Tianli didn't understand what Lu Tianyi was saying. Not only did Lin Yi return the money, he also promised us something good. This is a great thing. Why aren't you happy? Tianli, you've been doing business for so long. You've been making steady profits every year, but you haven't broken through yet. Why is that? Xinhu spoke up. And Jing only went for a year, and the profits doubled. Why is that? Chapter 967. Chapter 965, You're from House Sun. It's your vision, but your vision is still that of a businessman, not an entrepreneur. Xinhu said. Businessmen focus on profit when they do business, and if there's a price, there must be a price to pay. Otherwise, it'll be a loss. You, on the other hand, wouldn't do something that's a loss. That's why the family business has been profitable all these years, never losing anything. This is your ability. Tianli, on the other hand, lowered his head in silence, as if he was being taught a lesson. Entrepreneurs, on the other hand, have to look at the long term, not at the short term. Xinhu said. Jing, why don't you tell us what you think about this? Yes, Grandpa. Lu Jinghan nodded slightly and said, Lin Yi returned the money to House Lu and promised us something. This means that Lin Yi doesn't really treat House Lu as a friend, but as a token of gratitude, he's done with House Lu. We may have gotten some benefits for now, but it's not something to be happy about. Did you hear that? Tianli, this is the difference between you and Jing. She can multiply the group's profits in her hands, and you, on the other hand, are just sticking to the rules. Xinhu waved his hand. Forget it, it's too easy to get Lin Yi's friendship with just this. We'll have more chances in the future. I heard that the ranking of the noble houses might change in the upcoming meeting, and it looks like Family Zhao's name is fated to be erased from the list. Yeah, who's next after Family Zhao? Looking at the strength of all the noble houses, House Lu is the weakest. Lu Tianyi said. Although we'll be able to maintain our position in the near future, who knows what will happen in the future? Lin Yi, naturally, didn't have the time to think about House Lu's loss. He'd already followed Pingzhan to Faobert's room. At this moment, Faobert was lying quietly on the hospital bed, motionless. His body was still full of silver needles, which were inserted by Lin Yi before. Lin Yi quickly checked Faobert's physical condition and found that it had not deteriorated, so he could not help but breathe a sigh of relief. How is it, Yi? Can you save him? Pingzhan asked anxiously. Sure. Lin Yi nodded and said, let Yao Yao and Shu stay in the living room and alert me at any time. If there's an intruder, let me know immediately. All right. Pingzhan didn't dare to delay and quickly walked out of the room to order Meng Yao and Yushu. He knew that Lin Yi was going to use his unique method to heal Faobert, so he didn't dare to disturb him and quietly left the room, closing the door for Lin Yi. Lin Yi didn't plan to heal Faobert in one day. Although on the surface, the enemies seemed to have calmed down after being beaten up by Lin Yi, but there was no guarantee that there would still be people who would do something desperate. So, Lin Yi planned to heal Faobert in a few days, so that he could recover quickly after his energy loss. After all, even if Faobert was healed, he would still be a cripple, so Lin Yi wasn't in a hurry. After all, physical practitioners were different from spiritual practitioners. Lin Yi could only heal Faobert's injuries to the most basic state, but he couldn't let him recover his strength. This was because physical practitioners trained the body, and Lin Yi couldn't train for him. Lin Yi activated the art of dragon mastery and started to heal Faobert's meridians. The energy in Lin Yi's body was continuously transferred to Faobert's body, quickly healing his damaged organs. Lin Yi planned to heal Faobert's internal injuries first, then his external injuries. Once the internal injuries were healed, Faobert could wake up. As for whether he could get off the bed or not, it wasn't too important. Half an hour later, Lin Yi let out a long breath. Healing Faobert's damaged organs cost Lin Yi a third of his energy. When he healed Faobert, Lin Yi didn't hold back like when he healed Lu Buijia. He completely healed Faobert's organs. Faobert had been lying on the bed for a long time. Once his organs were healed, he slowly woke up. Seeing Lin Yi in front of the bed, he was slightly stunned and said anxiously, Mr. Lin, hurry up and save Miss and Shu, they were captured. Ha, I've already saved them. Lin Yi smiled. He didn't expect Faobert to be so loyal, sacrificing himself for Yao Yao and Shu, and the first thing he said after he woke up was to ask him to save them. Phew. Falbert let out a long breath. That's good, that's good. Mr. Lin, you saved me. Yes, it must be, I'm asking the obvious. Thank you. Heh, Falbert, you're treating me like an outsider. We're not strangers, and you got injured because of Yao Yao and Shu, how can I not care? Lin Yi smiled indifferently. He didn't think that healing Falbert was a credit. I can't thank you enough. Falbert nodded. Oh right, Mr. Lin, call me Little E, that's what Uncle Chu calls me. Lin Yi interrupted Falbert. That's fine, I'll call you Little E then. Falbert hesitated and agreed. Little E, I've always been curious. Your pure energy can actually be used to heal others. You have to know that only disciples of the same sect can use their pure energy with each other. If you're not from the same sect, not only will your pure energy not benefit others, it will also cause harm. I know that, but I'm a bit special. Lin Yi naturally knew what Falbert was talking about. Different types of pure energy entering a spiritual practitioner's body would require more pure energy to refine, or else it would be life-threatening. This was also why Lin Yi didn't use the art of dragon mastery and sent his energy into Yao Wang's body. Not only could his pure energy not be used by Yao Wang, but it could also severely injure him. You're from House Sun. Falbert hesitated and asked. House Sun? Which House Sun? Lin Yi paused. Aren't you? Falbert saw Lin Yi's shocked expression and knew he guessed wrong. He shook his head. Yes, House Sun can't heal so many people at once. Their pure energy can only be used by one or a few people. What do you mean? Lin Yi was a bit interested. Falbert, you mean that this House Sun has the same ability as me? It was the first time Lin Yi heard of a house that had the same ability as him, using pure energy to heal others. Chapter 968. A crazy idea. This House Sun is the so-called healing house. Lin Yi asked. Yes, the Sun family is still one of the 4 big aristocratic families and 5 small aristocratic families. The children of the Sun family can also be said to be inner force cultivators, but they are not good at fighting with others. The true qi in their bodies can only be used to heal others or improve their skills. Uncle Fu nodded and said, but most of the Sun family's children can only heal one person in their lifetime before they break through the first level of their family's secret art. Once the true qi in their body is assimilated by someone else, it can no longer be changed. Unless he breaks through to the second level, he will be able to heal 2 people, and so on. Currently, the head of the Sun clan can only heal 4 people. However, he has already used up 3 spots, and there is only 1 left. Oh. Lin Yi found Falbert's words strange. House Sun's cultivation method was similar to his, but completely different. They had to spend a lot of effort to break through to the next stage in order to heal 1 more person, but he was only at the first stage of the art of dragon mastery, and his energy was omnipotent. Therefore, the descendants of the Sun family are the targets that all the aristocratic families want to rope in through marriage. Which aristocratic family doesn't want a life-saving trump card? Falbert's face turned gloomy at this point. Forget it. Let's not talk about this. You probably have nothing to do with House Sun anymore. Of course, my surname is Lin, not Sunday. Lin Yi nodded. But Falbert, you seem to have something to say. You seem to have a deep connection with this House Sun. Lil E, there are some things I've never mentioned to Mr. Chu. Because he's not a person of the Jianghu, I don't want him to worry about these things. Falbert sighed. But you're a person of the Jianghu. Just think of it as me nagging you because I'm old. Since you've heard it, then forget it. I think this is all I'll be for the rest of my life. It's impossible for me to recover my strength. Now that I've told you these things in my heart, I can be at ease and be an old housekeeper. Faubert, go ahead. Lin Yi could tell from the start that Li Fu was a man with a story. There were many times when he saw Lin Yi that Li Fu wanted to say something, but didn't. Now that he was injured, he knew that he couldn't recover his strength. He was depressed and wanted to talk to someone, and Lin Yi was a good listener. Lil Yi, you guessed right, my wife is from House Sun. At this point, Uncle Fu's murky eyes seemed to flash with a glimmer of light, as if he had returned to his younger days. And my real name is not Li Fu. Lin Yi didn't expect Faubert's wife to be from House Sunday, then before. There's no need to talk about my previous identity. Failure. Faubert sighed. That was 20 years ago. At that time, I was proud of myself. As the young head, I had the strength of a peak late-phase mystic class. I could be said to be one of the best in all the sections. I married a woman from House Sun, and with her help, I broke through to Earth class. I was young and successful. What? You're in Earth class? Lin Yi's eyes widened as he looked at Faubert in disbelief. Faubert was an Earth class, but he was only a Golden class before, an Earth class early phase spiritual practitioner. Uncle Fu nodded his head with a hint of pride in his eyes. However, he soon let out a bitter sigh, but a disaster has befallen us. Our sect has been destroyed, my wife has been killed, my daughter has gone missing, and the sect's treasures have been stolen. I don't even know who the enemy is. What? Lin Yi couldn't be more shocked. If it weren't for the fact that he'd known Faubert for so long and knew that he wouldn't lie so easily, Lin Yi would have thought that Faubert was making up a story. I've hidden my identity for so many years, investigating the truth of the matter in secret. But there's no news. These years, my desire for revenge has faded. Seeing Miss Chu is like seeing my own daughter, so I took care of her with all my heart. It can be said that I've found some comfort. Faubert sighed. Isn't it a little strange? Lin Yi nodded without hesitation. So you're a spiritual practitioner. After my meridians were damaged, I hid my identity and trained in physical arts again. At that time, I only wanted to stand at the peak again, to avenge my wife and daughter, and my sect. But now, I don't even know who the enemy is, not to mention revenge. Faubert shook his head and said, I'm telling you because it's uncomfortable to keep it in my heart. Just treat it as a story. After listening to it, it'll be over. Faubert didn't expect Lin Yi to help him with anything. These secrets had been kept in his heart for so long that it made him feel a little depressed. Now that he had said it, he was relieved. Lin Yi knew that Faubert didn't speak in detail. There were many details that he didn't mention. He only roughly described his past. But although Lin Yi was puzzled, it wasn't good for him to ask. After all, these were the scars in Faubert's heart. If Lin Yi asked, it would only make Faubert more sad. If Faubert wanted to say it, he would slowly tell him the truth in the future. If Faubert didn't want to say it, then it was useless for him to ask. You used to be a spiritual practitioner. An Earth class at that. A crazy idea popped up in Lin Yi's mind. Yes. Faubert nodded and smiled, but a real man doesn't boast about his past achievements. It's all in the past. I've said it all. Just treat it as a story. Faubert, if it's possible to recover your strength, do you want to try? Lin Yi asked after thinking for a while. Recover my strength? Faubert was obviously stunned, but then he smiled bitterly. You want me to start from the beginning again? I don't have any confidence anymore. Lin Yi, I understand that you want me to pull myself together, but I've really given up. I thought that I could have a breakthrough in my physical kung fu, but all these years, I've been stuck at the peak of the late phase of the golden class. Even if I wanted to break through to the mystic class, it's still far away. You have to know that physical and spiritual are two completely different things. The higher you go, the harder it is to break through. I'm talking about the spiritual style, Lin Yi smiled and said. Spiritual style. Falbert was slightly stunned, but there was a flash of surprise in his eyes. He then said with some uncertainty, You mean? You can help me practice spiritual kung fu again. But my meridians. I can repair them. Lin Yi nodded and said with certainty. These secrets could only be shared with the old man. Lin Yi couldn't trust anyone else. If you're bored and reminisce about the past, you can continue to chat with me. Okay. Falbert understood Lin Yi's meaning. He wanted to ask about the details of his past, but Falbert didn't want to tell Lin Yi too much. With Lin Yi's current strength, there was no need for him to know these things. It wouldn't do Lin Yi any good. I'll keep what happened today a secret from Uncle Chu. Lin Yi turned and left Falbert's room. Thank you. Falbert said seriously. It wasn't just that Lin Yi wanted to keep it a secret. It was that Lin Yi wanted to help him recover his meridians and strength. Pingzhan, Meng Yao, and Yushu sat on the sofa anxiously, waiting for Lin Yi's news. Falbert could be said to be Pingzhan's right-hand man. He'd been loyal to him all these years. So he cared a lot about Falbert's safety. As for Meng Yao, other than Pingzhan, Lin Yi, and Shu, the person closest to her was Falbert. So in her heart, she prayed that Lin Yi could cure Falbert. Yushu may have been joking around all day, but in her heart, she was the most loyal fan of Shield Bro. She also cared about Falbert, but she was even more certain that Shield Bro could cure Falbert. The first rule of a mistress was to believe that her man was the best. How is it? Pingzhan saw Lin Yi coming out and quickly walked over. Falbert is awake, but the follow-up treatment will take a few days. Lin Yi said. He's awake. That's great. Pingzhan's face lit up. Thank you so much. Uncle Chu, you're being too polite. Lin Yi waved his hand. It's nothing. Can we see him? Pingzhan asked. Of course. Other than the fact that Falbert can't get out of bed yet, he's very energetic. Lin Yi thought that Pingzhan was being too careful. Falbert was just telling him a story. However, Pingzhan was using common sense. As far as he was concerned, Falbert was like a patient who had just come down from the operating table, and Lin Yi was the surgeon. That was why Pingzhan asked Lin Yi like other family members. The pressure on House Chu disappeared in an instant, and Pingzhan Industries returned to normal. Even some of the higher-ups of the company didn't know what happened a few days ago, but since Pingzhan didn't want to talk about it, they didn't ask. In short, everything was over. Songshan regained its peace. All the enemies of Pingzhan Industries seemed to have gone into hibernation and disappeared without a trace. Even Zhao Qibing wasn't arrogant anymore. He quietly went to the slums and started a renovation project. All he could do now was to make some money from his own business. Yao Wang's body was full of needles, but he still hadn't found a solution. Although Yao Wang was a mystic class master and could sleep sitting down, these needles were like a time bomb that could make him lose all his strength at any time. Lin Yi's life returned to normal, but now, Lin Yi took over Falbert's job, becoming the Miss and Shu's driver every day. The Bentley was repaired, but Lin Yi didn't like to drive such a formal car. Lin Yi wasn't a professional driver, so he chose Ming Yao's Audi S5. However, there was one more person to pick him up, Tang Yun. Chapter 970. Spilled the beans. Mingyao was still as cold as ever. She and Shu sat at the back of the S5, leaving the front passenger seat for Tang Yun. Only when Tang Yun got in and out of the car did Miss greet her. Although it was a little indifferent, it was less hostile. It was more like a normal friend nodding at her. Tang Yun's attitude towards Miss was strange. In the past, Meng Yao and Shu would always show hostility when they saw her. But now, it seemed like they were treating her as a normal friend. Did they look down on her and didn't see her as a competitor anymore? Or did they give up on Lin Yi? If it was the former, Tang Yun felt that she couldn't let her guard down. But if it was the latter, Tang Yun would feel strange. If they didn't like Lin Yi, then her four-person team was too strange. In fact, Tang Yun didn't understand Miss's personality. Miss was cold on the outside but warm on the inside. When she accepted someone, she would change from cold to warm. In fact, Miss's attitude towards Lin Yi was still cold, but in her heart, she treated him as a friend that couldn't be lost. Meng Yao didn't know what to say to Tang Yun. Plus, with Lin Yi here, she couldn't say anything. She wanted to try to get to know Tang Yun, but she realized that the two of them were living in two different worlds. Miss hadn't experienced Tang Yun's family before. Meng Yao didn't want to talk about her own family either. It would be like showing off in front of Tang Yun. 2 days later, Lin Yi himself was starting to feel uncomfortable. In the car, he wanted to say something to Tang Yun, but he remembered that Miss was staring at him from behind, so he couldn't say anything to Tang Yun. Miss also didn't want to talk to Tang Yun because Tang Yun was in front. She didn't even talk to Shu. In the past, the young Miss and Shu would talk about all sorts of topics. However, the two of them were financially well off, so it was natural for them to talk about new clothing styles and cosmetics. But now, the young Miss seemed to be purposely avoiding these topics. Fortunately, after 2 days of Lin Yi's treatment, Falbert's body had recovered to its original state. It was just that he didn't have the strength of a physical practitioner, but it didn't affect his movements. The task of the full-time driver fell on Falbert again, which made Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief. On the highway from Yanjing to Songshan, a black Audi with a special license plate was speeding along. In the car, a middle-aged man and a young girl were talking. These two were Feng Tianlong and Xiao Xiao, father and daughter. I won't go there again. Unhappiness was written all over Xiao Xiao's face. We've wasted so much time, and we haven't gotten any results yet. How many more months do I have left? Xiao Xiao, you should believe in the current medical technology. Look, this is the report when you first came to Yanjing, and this is the report when we left. Your condition has obviously improved. Tianlong pointed at the report. Better. Did they cure him? All they do is make me draw blood every day, and that's it. Xiao Xiao pouted. I even had a relapse in the middle of the journey. If it weren't for Lin Yi, I'd be dead already. Lin Yi. Tianlong's eyes narrowed when he heard the name. As one of the most secretive intelligence departments, Feng Tianlong knew everything that happened in Songshan City. Lin Yi was up against the bastard of House Yu, Xiao family, and House Xiao. Although Yu Bide and Uncle Pai's death had nothing to do with Lin Yi, it was still Lin Yi's fault. His grudge with House Yu, Xiao family, and House Xiao was now set in stone. What interested Tianlong the most was that Lin Yi was able to recover and regain his strength so quickly after being heavily injured, and so was the dog beside him. That meant that there had to be a very powerful medical expert by Lin Yi's side. Tianlong's information was naturally the most comprehensive and detailed, but he still couldn't find out who it was that healed Lin Yi and helped him regain his strength. Lin Yi had gone to Xuemin's house once during this time, but it was only after his injuries had healed. The possibility of it being Xuemin wasn't high. Tianlong had guessed that this person was Xuemin, and the reason he came back to Songshan with Xiao Xiao was to see Xuemin and ask him for a pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. He wanted to see if it could cure Xiao Xiao's illness, but after this incident, Tianlong felt that the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing didn't seem to be made by Xuemin. If Xuemin could make these miraculous medicines, he would have done it a long time ago. Why would he wait until now? Plus, why did everything that had to do with Lin Yi become so strange and mysterious? Lin Yi's figure had appeared at the auction as well. Lin Yi had helped his team on a mission before, but Lin Yi was an external helper at the time, and his identity was kept a secret. Tianlong knew the rules, and he didn't ask too much about Lin Yi. But now, for his daughter, Tianlong had no choice but to ask Lin Yi about some things. Plus, there was another meaning to this: his daughter seemed to like Lin Yi. Did it happen when you were in Yanjing? Why didn't I know about it? Tianlong turned to his daughter. Why didn't you tell me about something this big? It's not that big, I was just taking a shower when I suddenly fainted. Luckily, Lin Yi found me in time, and I don't know how he did it, but I recovered pretty quickly. Xiao Xiao didn't want her father to worry, and it wasn't a big deal. She was fine, wasn't she? So she didn't say anything. You were taking a shower, and Lin Yi was beside you. Tianlong blinked. Wah. Xiao Xiao realized that she'd spilled the beans, and her face reddened, a little embarrassed. No. I just. It's not what you think. It was the first time Xiao Xiao was rambling in front of her father, like a child who'd done something wrong. She waved her hands around, not even knowing what she was saying. Chapter 971. Chapter 0969, Father Phone goes to Lin Yi. Aw. What are you saying? I don't understand. Xiao Xiao covered her ears, not daring to listen anymore. Her heart, however, jumped. Was she going to fall in love? All this time, Xiao Xiao had been avoiding friendship and love, the two most important emotions in her life. She knew her situation, knew that she might die one day, and she was afraid of that kind of separation between friends and lovers. She didn't want to die in pain, and she didn't want others to feel the same pain and reluctance. So in her 18 years of life, friendship and love were practically non-existent. She didn't have any real friends, just a bunch of friends who played around with her. If she were to disappear one day, just like now, she'd have less contact with her racing friends, and they wouldn't purposely come looking for her. Soon enough, there would be new people joining them. Xiao Xiao felt like she was just a passerby in this world, a bystander, coming and going in a hurry. When it was the last lesson of her life, she'd leave peacefully by herself. But her father's words today opened up Xiao Xiao's sealed heart. Although she was afraid of the hurt that friendship and love would bring when they parted, she still had some expectations and desires for the ups and downs that friendship and love brought. If she had a close friend and a lover who could understand her heart, she would probably die without regrets, right? But Xiao Xiao felt that it was a little selfish of her to do that. Friendship was fine, but love. Was she going to let her lover suffer the pain of losing her? Xiao Xiao felt that it was cruel. Xiao Xiao didn't say anything about it, but she could see how much her dad had been suffering these past years. He missed her very much, but there was nothing he could do. He could only work his ass off to ease the pain of missing her. Sometimes, when a small thought is planted in the heart, it becomes a seed that will slowly take root and germinate in the body. In the end, it will uncontrollably become a small tree that bursts out of the soil. Xiao Xiao didn't dare think about love before. She knew that she didn't have the right to think about it, but with her father's encouragement today, her heart was starting to soften. She really wanted to be in love before she died. Even if it was just a taste of love, but no, that would hurt others. Xiao Xiao liked to play pranks, but it was always within a controllable range to create some misunderstandings and trouble, especially against people she hated. She couldn't bear to do it to her lover. "Dad, do you miss Mom?" Xiao Xiao asked suddenly. "Oh." Tianlong paused, and a painful expression flashed in his eyes. "Yes, of course I will." "Why are you suddenly asking about this?" "Then let me find a boyfriend, he'll miss me too, he'll be in pain." Xiao Xiao shook her head. "Okay." Xiao Xiao agreed helplessly. She told Lin Yi that her father wanted to see him, but it was just an excuse to ask him to come to the hotel. But now it became reality. Xiao Xiao was a little troubled. But now, with a love rival like the miss in front of her, Tang Yun had to be careful. "Xiao Xiao helped me a lot in Yanjing, and I promised to treat her to a meal. She's back now, so she called me." Tang Yun didn't ask for details, but Lin Yi still explained everything to her. "Oh, of course, you should treat her to a meal." Tang Yun nodded with a smile. "It's fine, go ahead. I'll eat in the cafeteria." "Alright, call me anytime if you need anything." Lin Yi reminded Tang Yun before leaving the cafeteria and walking towards the school gate. Lin Yi had a complicated feeling towards Xiao Xiao. To be honest, Lin Yi thought that Xiao Xiao was just a spoiled rich kid, but that time at the beach, Lin Yi realized that wasn't the case. Especially after knowing that she was Tianlong's daughter, Lin Yi's feelings towards Xiao Xiao became even more complicated. To be honest, Lin Yi felt pity for this girl. She didn't have a mother since she was young, and her father was always busy outside. This was what made her like this. After knowing Xiao Xiao's background, Lin Yi understood her, and he didn't hate her as much as he did before. This is a cheerful girl full of enthusiasm for life. Only when you get close to her can you see her inner loneliness and sadness in some imperceptible details. Xiao Xiao was still driving her Audi TT. The car stopped beside Lin Yi, and she poked her head out from the driver's seat. "Lin Yi. Get in." Lin Yi didn't say anything. He walked over and opened the door, sitting in the front passenger seat. "Hey, why the long face?" Xiao Xiao was a little unhappy at Lin Yi's silence. "Did I stop you from hitting on girls?" "I was just getting ready to eat with Tang Yun in the cafeteria." Lin Yi said. "So I did. But you can hit on me. Who's prettier, me or Tang Yun?" Xiao Xiao blinked her big eyes and turned to Lin Yi. "Tang Yun." Lin Yi said. "Humph." Xiao Xiao's smile turned frosty as she glared at Lin Yi. "Don't you know how to coax people? Can't you say something nice? Can't you even lie to me?" "Fine, you're prettier." Lin Yi said. "Boring. Let's go eat." Xiao Xiao looked at Lin Yi's face that said "I'm lying," and her interest waned. Why couldn't she seduce Lin Yi? Why was she so much worse than Tang Yun? Xiao Xiao started the car, but didn't go very far. She parked the car in front of a beef noodle restaurant nearby. Lin Yi paused. He didn't think that Xiao Xiao would bring him to a place like this. The prices here weren't high, and when Xiao Xiao asked him to treat her to a meal, Lin Yi thought that she was going to rip him off like how she ripped off Wu Qintian. Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao went into the noodle house and found a table for two. "Can the two of you wait for a moment? I'll order for you right away." The waiter was standing in front of a table with a mother and daughter, ordering for them. "Alright, we'll take a look at the menu first." Lin Yi nodded nonchalantly and picked up the menu. Chapter 973. Eating a bowl of noodles, of course. The waiter nodded. He could see that the living conditions of the mother and daughter were not very good. It could be seen from their clothes. They were all old clothes that were out of season. Nowadays, few people in the city wore such simple clothes. Xiao, can we just have one bowl? I can't eat that much. This bowl of noodles looks like a lot, the mother said to a 15 or 16-year-old girl beside her. She knew that her mother was reluctant to part with the money, but the doctor said that her mother was about to die. Coming here to eat beef noodles was her wish. Although Shi was frugal, she still gritted her teeth and said, "Just 2 bowls." "Child, isn't it a waste?" The mother interrupted Shi and said to the waiter, "Just 1 bowl, how much is it?" "Hello, a bowl of beef noodles, you spend a total of 15 kwai. The waiter sympathized with the mother and daughter, but he was also a part-time worker. His living conditions weren't much better than theirs, and he couldn't just give them a bowl of noodles. That would only make the boss deduct it from his salary. When the mother heard that a bowl of noodles cost 15 kwai, she looked distressed. Shi, on the other hand, took out a stack of bills from her pocket, counted out 15 kwai, and gave it to the waiter. The waiter knew that it was not easy for the mother and daughter to earn this money, but he had no other way. He could only look at them sympathetically. He was going to secretly instruct the kitchen to make more noodles for them. This was the only thing he could do. "Xiao, it's not easy for you to make money, and you still have to treat my illness. In the future, let's not waste it." Shi's mother said softly, 15 kwai, how many noodles can we buy? It's enough for us to eat for many days. "Mom, today is my birthday," I said. "I'll make the decision." She interrupted her mother and said with a smile, "After today, I'll be 16, an adult. I'll definitely make a lot of money in the future and take you out to eat every day." "Ah, okay, Mom will wait for you." The mother sighed in her heart. She didn't know if she could hold on until that day. Seeing that her daughter had grown up, she felt more at ease when she left. This noodle shop was an old one in the neighborhood. It had been open for a few years. When Shi was young, she and her mother would pass by here and they would look at the customers with envy. At that time, her mother would always tell Shi that when she made money in the future, she would bring Shi here to eat noodles. In the blink of an eye, Shi had grown up, but her mother was found to have cancer. All of a sudden, Shi's family, which wasn't well off to begin with, became strapped for cash. Her mother couldn't do her job anymore, so she could only rely on Shi to pick up waste paper and drink bottles after school. Today was Shi's 16th birthday, but Shi wasn't happy at all, because just a few days ago, when her mother went to the hospital for a checkup, the doctor told her that her mother only had 1 or 2 months left, and told her to prepare for her funeral. Shi was stunned. Although she had expected this day to come, she didn't think it would come so soon. "Mom, are you leaving already?" Shi was very sad, but she was afraid that her mother would suspect, so she had to pretend to be happy. Using birthday as an excuse, Shi brought her mother to the noodle shop. In her mother's eyes, Shi was still a child's willfulness, but Shi knew that if she didn't bring her mother to eat noodles now, her mother might not be able to eat noodles here for the rest of her life. So Shi spent a few nights, came home 2 hours late every day, took a bus to the beach to pick up drink bottles, and finally saved up 30 yuan. The goal was to eat beef noodles with her mother. She had already asked for the price in advance, 15 yuan a bowl. Although it was expensive for her, she felt it was worth it. Lin Yi's gaze swept across Shi and her mother, and finally stopped on Shi's mother. She was a haggard and slightly sick woman, although she had been tortured by the disease, but it could be seen that she must have been very beautiful when she was young. But, in Lin Yi's eyes, she probably didn't have long to live. As for the specific reason, Lin Yi didn't know. Without further examination, Lin Yi didn't know what illness she had. The girl called She was very pretty, probably like her mother when she was young. Although she was only 16, she was already very beautiful. Although her clothes were simple, they were very clean and tidy. This made Lin Yi think of Tang Yun, and it made his heart skip a beat. Lin Yi frowned. He didn't know when, but it seemed like he wasn't so cold anymore. Like he liked to meddle in other people's business. Was it the environment here that changed him? Lin Yi realized that he had indeed left those bloody days far behind. He was starting to blend into this environment, and he even liked it here. The waiter walked over, and Lin Yi retracted his gaze and looked at Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao's eyes had been on the mother and daughter the whole time, evidently feeling a little emotional as well. "Hello, would you two like to order now?" the waiter asked. "We want a bowl of beef noodles too." Xiao Xiao didn't wait for Lin Yi to speak. She got the idea from the mother and daughter. Eating a bowl of noodles with Lin Yi would help improve their relationship. "Oh. Okay." The waiter paused and nodded. It wasn't unusual for a couple to share a bowl of noodles, but it was just a coincidence that the mother and daughter had ordered a bowl of noodles, and Xiao Xiao had ordered a bowl of noodles as well. "Just one bowl. You're not eating." Lin Yi frowned as he looked at Xiao Xiao. "Of course I'm eating." Xiao Xiao almost exploded after hearing Lin Yi's words. "You're treating me to noodles, all right. You're asking me if I'm eating. Why would I ask you to treat me if I'm not eating?" "Oh, 2 bowls then," Lin Yi said faintly to the waiter. "Yes, sir." The waiter smiled. It seemed that either Lin Yi didn't know how to flirt, or Xiao Xiao was overthinking things. These two might not be a couple. They might be a girl chasing a guy. Xiao Xiao was a little unhappy. "I can't eat, the noodles here are too big." "Then tell him to put less," Lin Yi said. "Am I stupid?" Xiao Xiao was so angry that she didn't say anything. She waved at the waiter angrily, telling him to leave. Chapter 974. Not much time after a while, the mother and daughter's beef noodles were served. The noodles in the bowl were piled high, and there was a shocking amount of beef on top. "Please enjoy your meal." The waiter placed 2 pairs of chopsticks in front of Qin Shi and her daughter's table, then quietly retreated. "The noodles here are so good, no wonder it's so expensive." The mother looked at the beef noodles in surprise. "This is enough for the 2 of us." "Yeah." Qin Shi smiled bitterly inwardly. The waiter must have asked the kitchen to make this for them, right? After all, there weren't many customers right now, but when Qin Shi came for inspection, she'd checked the amount of noodles. How could there be so much? Now it was more than half. There were a lot more pieces of beef, too. This bowl of noodles probably cost 15 kwai. Qin Shi looked at the busy waiter gratefully and passed the chopsticks to her mother. "Mom, let's eat." "Sure, eat." "Shi, you eat first." The mother looked at Qin Shi lovingly. "It's so good." Qin Shi knew that her mother wouldn't eat if she didn't, so she took a bite and pushed the noodles to her mother. It was really, really good, but the more Qin Shi liked it, the more she didn't want to eat it. She wanted to save it for her mother. She could eat it whenever she wanted. She still had time to grow, but her mother, "No wonder there's so many people here, it's really good." Qin Shi's mother nodded in satisfaction after taking a bite. "Shi, you're still growing, eat more meat." "Mom, you eat too." Qin Shi didn't want to eat it, so she put a small piece of beef in her mouth and a big piece of beef in her mother's mouth. "Look, there's a lot of noodles here, isn't there?" Xiao Xiao pointed at the mother and daughter as she spoke to Lin Yi. "Are you really dumb or are you just pretending?" Lin Yi asked. Xiao Xiao almost jumped on the table and stepped on Lin Yi. "Why were you so mean to me?" Yushu always asked stupid questions. Why didn't you ask her if she was really dumb or just pretending? Xiao Xiao, what are you trying to do? Why do I feel like something's wrong with you? Lin Yi looked at Xiao Xiao. What's wrong with me? I don't want to do anything. I told you, I like you, I want to pursue you. Xiao Xiao said. Lin Yi shook his head. There was nothing he could do if Xiao Xiao didn't want to tell the truth. On the other side, Chen Shi was still sharing the same bowl of noodles with her mother. Her mother's eyes were still filled with love, and she kept telling Chen Shi to eat more, but the more it was like this, the sadder Chen Shi felt. Tears flowed down uncontrollably. She was afraid that her mother would see it, so she quickly stood up and ran in the direction of the bathroom. As she walked, she said, I'm going to the bathroom, Mom, you eat first. Why is she crying? Xiao Xiao was paying attention to Qin Shi's every move. She was confused when she saw Qin Shi crying. Her mother is dying, Lin Yi said faintly. What? Xiao Xiao almost stood up from her seat. You're saying that her mom's dying? Are you serious? Look at her mother's face, it's obvious that she's dying. She probably doesn't have much time left, Lin Yi said. You can tell that her mother doesn't have much time left with just one look. Xiao Xiao didn't believe it. Bian Ke saw Kai Huan Gong and left. That's the same logic. Lin Yi said. Sometimes, you can tell how long someone has left with just one look. Then how long do you think I have left? Xiao Xiao's heart skipped a beat. She didn't show it on her face, but she was really nervous inside. You? I can't tell that you're dying. Lin Yi thought that Xiao Xiao was joking, so he didn't mind. Oh. Xiao Xiao was a little disappointed that Lin Yi didn't take her seriously at all. At that moment, Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao's beef noodles were served as well, but the difference was like heaven and earth compared to Qin Shi's. 2 bowls here was about the same amount as 1 bowl. See? Is 1 bowl enough? Lin Yi smiled. It's enough. I don't eat much. Xiao Xiao said stubbornly. Who ate so much that they couldn't even walk? Lin Yi couldn't help but think of the time Xiao Xiao ate seafood in Yanjing. She was so full she was like a crab, walking sideways. That's because I wanted to eat that iron-fisted wu poor. Xiao Xiao blushed. As the two were talking, something happened to Qin Shi. Qin Shi was afraid that her mother would see her crying, so she wanted to go to the bathroom quickly. She didn't know that as soon as she got up, she bumped into a customer who had just entered the noodle house. The customer was lighting a cigarette with a lighter, and Qin Shi turned around and knocked the lighter in his hand to the ground. Motherfucker, little girl, don't you have eyes? Do you even know how to walk? The man was furious when Qin Shi knocked the lighter to the ground. I'm sorry. Qin Shi jumped and quickly bent down to pick up the lighter. I'm returning it to you, I'm really sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. Sorry. You're just sorry. Do you know what brand this lighter is? Zippo. You dropped the paint on it, can you afford it? The man grinned and glared at Qin Shi. Qin Shi didn't think that she would get into trouble just by turning around. She didn't know if the man was telling the truth, but she was in the wrong. She lowered her head. I'm sorry, cut the bullshit, hurry up and pay up. The man slammed the table, and with a bang, the beef noodles in front of Qin Shi's mother hit the ground. It shattered, and the soup and noodles spilled all over the floor. Qin Shi didn't think that this man would be so unreasonable. She had already apologized, and not only did he not accept it, he even knocked over her beef noodles. This was the noodles she had spent a lot of effort to buy for her mother. Thinking of this, Qin Shi couldn't help but cry, I'm sorry, big bro, the child doesn't know any better. How much is the lighter? I'll pay you. Chin Shi's mother didn't think that this would happen. The mother and daughter were happily eating noodles, and now they were in trouble. 5,000. The man humphed coldly. Hurry up and pay up, or I'll call the police and sue her for deliberately destroying other people's property. Chapter 975. Chapter 973, Xiao Xiao's idea, what did you think? This is Zippo, an international brand. Have you ever seen it on TV? This brand of lighter is used in movies. The man raised his lighter and shouted. But, isn't this lighter fine? It doesn't have to be 5,000, right? Chin Shi's mother asked carefully, her eyes filled with shock. Fine. How am I supposed to use it if the paint is peeling off? I'm a high-class person, living in the upper class. How can I take a lighter that's peeling off? The man humphed coldly, slamming the lighter on the table beside the mother and daughter. If you can use it, I'll give it to you. Hurry up and give me 5,000, don't bullshit. There weren't many customers in the restaurant at this time, because it was already 1 in the afternoon when Lin Yi saw Xiao Xiao. It was just past lunchtime. But even if there were customers here, who would care about this? The waiter of the beef noodle shop, although he didn't like the man and sympathized with Chin Shi and her mother, he also knew that disputes between customers had nothing to do with their shop. At this time, the best choice was not to interfere. Xiao Xiao frowned, thinking that this man was really despicable. She had always sympathized with Chin Shi. She lost her mother when she was young, and now Chin Shi was about to lose her mother as well. This made Xiao Xiao feel like they were in the same boat, and she couldn't help but like Chin Shi. Now that this man was making things difficult for the mother and daughter, she was furious. And so Xiao Xiao stood up, and before the man could react, she grabbed the lighter from the table. Let me see, what kind of lighter is worth 5,000? Who are you? Mind your own business. The man frowned, not expecting someone to suddenly appear out of nowhere. But seeing how fashionable Xiao Xiao was, he didn't dare mess with her. After all, he only picked on people who were easy to bully. As far as I know, Zippo is an international brand, but the price ranges from high to low. The cheapest one is only a few dozen kuai, and yours. Xiao Xiao picked up the man's lighter and looked at it before saying faintly, this is a Zipk, not a Zippo. It's a knockoff, not even worth a few dozen kuai. Nonsense. The man's face reddened at Xiao Xiao's words, and his embarrassment turned into anger as he reached out to grab the lighter from Xiao Xiao's hand. But who was Xiao Xiao? He was the weakest of the big 4 young thugs. How could she be afraid of someone who dared to set off firecrackers on Lin Yi's butt? He casually lit the lighter. As a result, when the man grabbed it, the lighter burned his hand and ignited his sleeve. Ah! Fuck me. The man started waving his arms around, finally putting out the fire on his sleeves. His eyes were filled with rage, and he'd lost his mind. He raised his hand, wanting to slap Xiao Xiao. At this moment, Xiao Xiao jumped in fright. But what she was thinking was, could Lin Yi save her? Lin Yi, naturally, wouldn't let Xiao Xiao get bullied. The next moment, the man's hand was grabbed tightly by Lin Yi. You! Let go of me. The man was a bit scared after being grabbed by Lin Yi. The pain in his hand told him that Lin Yi wasn't someone to be messed with. He was someone who bullied the weak and feared the strong, and it was only because Chin Shi was dressed like a country bumpkin that he thought she was easy to bully. But now, Lin Yi clearly wasn't someone to be messed with. He was a little scared. Do you know who I am? I'm very familiar with Guangbro in the North District, don't mind your own business. Who's Guangbro? Lin Yi paused. Zhou Ruoguang, Guangbro. The man thought that Lin Yi didn't know, so he added, he's the boss of the North District. Zhou Ruoguang, why does that name sound so familiar? Xiao Xiao interrupted. The moment Lin Yi made his move, Xiao Xiao felt a bit of sweetness in her heart. Lin Yi still cared about her, he still cared about her. His attitude towards her was a bit cold, but if something really happened to her, he wouldn't just stand by and watch. Oh, just an idiot, Lin Yi said, he has a retarded brother called Zhou Ruoming, you know him. Oh, Zhou Ruoming, I thought he knew someone strong. Xiao Xiao let out a breath of relief when she heard that it was Zhou Ruoming's brother. Ugh. The man didn't know what to do, he thought that he'd bring up someone strong and Lin Yi would give in, but he didn't expect Lin Yi to know someone. Who else do you know? If you don't know anyone, then you can leave. Lin Yi let go of the man's hand, not caring about him at all. The man hesitated for a moment before running out of the beef noodle shop. Evidently, he felt that he was no match for Lin Yi, and it was best to run away. Thank you guys so much. Chen Shi's mother thought that she'd have to pay a huge debt before she died, and in her moment of despair, someone stood up for her and her daughter. Luckily, these two were knowledgeable and saw through the man's scam, and they even managed to scare him away. Otherwise, the mother and daughter wouldn't know what to do. Thank you, big bro, big sis. Chen Shi wiped her tears and bowed politely to Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao. It's nothing. Xiao Xiao said, just be careful next time. Okay. Chen Shi nodded gratefully, but when she saw the broken beef noodles on the floor, she couldn't help but feel pained. She turned to her mother, Mom, can we get another bowl? No, we've already tasted it, we know how it tastes, don't waste money. Chen Shi's mother, naturally, didn't want her daughter to spend more money. I haven't touched this bowl yet, I can't eat it anymore, you guys can have it. Xiao Xiao rolled her eyes and gave her bowl of beef noodles to the mother and daughter. That's not okay. Chen Shi's mother paused and quickly rejected. I want to share a bowl with him, Auntie, didn't you hear it? Xiao Xiao whispered in Chen Shi's mother's ear, just do me a favor, okay? Chen Shi's mother did hear that Xiao Xiao wanted to share a bowl of noodles with Lin Yi, so she didn't suspect anything when Xiao Xiao said this, but she couldn't say yes, and she couldn't say no either. If she said yes, she'd be taking something from them for free, but if she didn't say yes, they'd already asked for a favor, and they'd just done her a huge favor. How could she say no? Chen Shi and her mom weren't people who took things from others for free. They were poor, but Chen Shi used her own labor every day, picking up trash on the beach, streets, and alleyways. She didn't earn much, but it was still her labor. But before the two could finish their noodles, Chen Shi's mom fainted on the table, and Chen Shi didn't know what to do. After all, her mom was sick, but she'd never fainted before. Even if she went to the hospital, it was with the mother and daughter. Quick, call the ambulance. The waiter was experienced, and he quickly reminded them. Okay. Chen Shi nodded and said, who can lend me their phone for a while? She didn't have a phone, and while it wasn't expensive, she couldn't afford it. Use mine. Xiao Xiao didn't care about getting mad at Lin Yi anymore. She took out her phone and gave it to Chen Shi. Seeing the panic in Chen Shi's eyes, Xiao Xiao remembered her lonely and sad childhood. How lonely was it without her mom by her side? No need, sending her to the hospital won't help. Don't waste money, Lin Yi said faintly as he looked at Chen Shi's mother. Chen Shi's life was fading away quickly. Basically, there was no hope. Chen Shi heard Lin Yi's words, and her expression froze for a moment. Then, tears flowed down her face, and she hugged her mom, crying out loud. Although it was her 16th birthday today, she was still a fragile girl. She knew that her mom would leave her soon, but she didn't think it would be this soon. When her mother fainted, Chen-Shi still had a sliver of hope in her heart, hoping that her mother would wake up after reaching the hospital, but Lin Yi's words were like a bucket of cold water, pouring it all over her head, plunging her into despair. At that moment, she felt so helpless. She didn't know what to do. The only thing she could do was hug her mom and cry out loud. That was the only way she could vent the pain in her heart. "What's wrong with you? Who talks like that?" Lin Yi's words made the waiter unhappy. "Who do you think you are? You can decide someone's life and death with just one sentence?" Lin Yi turned his head and looked at the waiter faintly. This person had a good heart. From the beginning to the end, he didn't look down on Chen-Shi and her mother, so Lin Yi wouldn't vent his anger on him. What he said now was just anger because he didn't know the truth. Why would Lin Yi bother with him? Seeing Lin Yi turn his head, the waiter was shocked. He remembered that Lin Yi had just chased away the troublemaker, and he was a little scared. But Lin Yi's words were indeed unpleasant, so the waiter only took a step back and insisted, "Don't listen to his nonsense. Hurry up and send her to the hospital." "I'll call the ambulance right now." "Lin Yi, is there really no hope for her?" After Lin Yi saved her last time, Xiao Xiao knew that Lin Yi knew medicine, so she couldn't help but believe Lin Yi's words. At that moment, Lin Yi's hand was already on Chen-Shi's wrist. He didn't explain much to the waiter and only said to Xiao Xiao, "Terminal liver cancer, what do you think the hospital can do?" Xiao Xiao's face froze. Cancer, one of the incurable diseases of the century. Even people who didn't know medicine would basically think that this person was already sentenced to death when they heard the word cancer. Lin Yi's words stunned Chen-Shi. Her eyes were wide open, staring at Lin Yi without blinking. Chapter 977. No matter what, but only Chen-Shi knew that Lin Yi wasn't just talking nonsense. She was shocked because Lin Yi was able to identify her mother's illness as soon as he opened his mouth. And it was accurate to the late stage of liver cancer. She had brought her mother to see both Eastern and Western medicine before, and she had seen this method of diagnosis, but she had never seen someone like Lin Yi, who could accurately identify the illness in just a few seconds. In an instant, Chen-Shi understood that this big brother who helped her before was a miracle doctor. If he could identify her mother's illness, could he save her? "You can save my mother, right? If you can identify my mother's illness, then there must be a way." Chen-Shi didn't care about the fact that men and women shouldn't touch each other. She grabbed Lin Yi's hand and said urgently, "Please, I beg you, save my mother, no matter what it takes." Lin Yi's heart skipped a beat. In the past, he wouldn't be moved by the joys and sorrows of separation and reunion, but now, was he the one who had changed? Chen-Shi's words made the waiter's jaw drop. He didn't think that Lin Yi would actually be able to identify Chen-Shi's mother's illness, and from the looks of it, Lin Yi really was a doctor. So what he said before was all true. At the thought, the waiter felt a little ashamed. It was all his fault for being too impulsive, scolding Lin Yi without any reason. "Lin Yi, do you have a way?" Xiao Xiao knew how painful it was to lose her mother. When she saw Chen-Shi, she thought of herself, so if there was a way, she wouldn't give up. If it was just discovered, then it's possible. Lin Yi hesitated and said, "But now, it's a little troublesome." Chen-Shi was a little disappointed when she heard the first half of Lin Yi's sentence. But the second half of Lin Yi's sentence made her eyes light up. Because Lin Yi said it was troublesome, not that there was no way. Troublesome meant that although it was difficult, there was still a way. At the thought, Chen-Shi subconsciously kneeled in front of Lin Yi. "Miracle Dr. Bro, please save my mother, I'm willing to pay any price." Xiao Xiao was just testing the waters when she asked, but she didn't expect Lin Yi to give a definite answer. Xiao Xiao knew Lin Yi's character very well. If Lin Yi didn't agree, then he would do everything he could. So Xiao Xiao let out a breath of relief. If he said there was a way, then there must be a way. With that thought, Xiao Xiao relaxed a little. She couldn't help but joke with Qin Shi. He saved your mom, so why don't you be his lover? Ah. Qin Shi blinked and blushed. Naturally, she knew what it meant to be a mistress. What she had to do was the same as selling herself. When Qin Shi was desperate and had no money, she thought about selling herself for her mother's treatment, but she wasn't stupid. She knew that her mother's illness couldn't be cured. The doctor made it very clear that no matter how much money was spent, it would only slow down the time of death. It was impossible to cure it. Therefore, Qin Shi understood that even if she sold herself for her mother's treatment, it would only last for a while. If her mother found out what she had done, she might even die from anger. Liver cancer was not something that could be easily provoked, so the loss would outweigh the gain. But now, Lin Yi gave her hope. From Lin Yi's tone, Qin Shi could tell that Lin Yi had a way. The reason why she believed that Lin Yi had a way was because Lin Yi was able to tell her mother's illness as soon as he opened his mouth. Out of all the doctors she had seen for her mother, he was the only one who could tell her mother's illness so quickly. So even though Qin Shi felt that Xiao Xiao's request was a little too much, she didn't have time to think about it. She nodded impulsively. All right, as long as it can cure my mother, then I'll do anything. Qin Shi still couldn't say the 3 words, lover, because these 3 words, to someone as pure as water, were really a bit hard to say. But Qin Shi wasn't an idiot. She believed in Lin Yi, but she couldn't do anything with him before he cured her mother's illness. One, she wasn't in the mood, and the other, she was afraid that Lin Yi would lie to her. Although Lin Yi didn't seem like a scammer, she still had to be cautious. If he really could cure her mother's illness, then Qin Shi would have no regrets. Today was her birthday, and she was an adult. She could make her own decision. Lin Yi listened to the conversation between Xiao Xiao and Qin Shi, and he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He knew that Xiao Xiao was just messing around, but Qin Shi took it for real. The waiter of the restaurant felt that Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao were taking advantage of the situation, and he felt that there was something wrong with this girl. She clearly liked Lin Yi, and he hadn't even gotten her yet. Why was she trying to be a matchmaker? Was she crazy? But this was someone else's business. What did it have to do with a waiter like him? All he could do was to do his part well. Ha! Lin Yi smiled. She's just joking with you. You're too young, you haven't even matured yet. Why would I want you as a mistress? Lin Yi's words were a bit of a blow to Qin Shi's confidence, but he was saying it to make Qin Shi give up on the idea. Lin Yi thought that Qin Shi was a pretty and cute girl, but it wasn't to the point where he wanted her to be his mistress. Wasn't it messy enough with Xiao Xiao? If he made another mistress, Tang Yun wouldn't be happy about it, and the miss would be pissed as well. Who said I haven't matured? Qin Shi heard Lin Yi's words, and her face turned bright red. She had always been confident in her looks, and even if her body wasn't particularly outstanding, it was still quite developed for her age. But Lin Yi looked down on her for being young and not maturing. Naturally, Qin Shi misunderstood that Lin Yi looked down on her, and that he didn't want to help her. Qin Shi was desperate to save her mother, and she couldn't care less about her shyness. She puffed up her chest in front of Lin Yi. How am I young? Even if I haven't matured, I'll continue to grow. Lin Yi was taken aback by Qin Shi's actions, and he shook his head. You're too young. I just turned 16 today, I'm an adult now. Plus, I can still grow up. Qin Shi said hurriedly. By the time you grow up, your mother will be long dead. Lin Yi smiled. Chapter 978. Brother Miracle Doctor, alright, you don't have to do anything. Lin Yi shrugged. Let go of me first, I'll take a look at your mother. Oh, okay. Chen Shi realized that she was still holding on to Lin Yi's hand. It was the first time she held the hand of a man of the opposite sex. She couldn't help but blush. Thinking of what she said before, she was even more shy. What did he mean when he said that he didn't have to do anything? Did he not want her to be his lover, or did he mean that he was going to save her mother and didn't want her to intervene? Chen Shi didn't know, but Lin Yi was already busy. Lin Yi took out the silver needle box and took out the silver needles from it. He quickly inserted a few needles into Mother Chen's body. Don't you need to disinfect? Although Chen Shi believed in Lin Yi, she also knew that if the silver needles weren't disinfected, there might be a bacterial infection. It's already been disinfected. Lin Yi said faintly, but he didn't explain how he disinfected it. When Lin Yi used the silver needles without alcohol or other disinfectants, he would use his own qi to disinfect the silver needles. The heat generated by the qi was enough to kill any bacteria. Oh. Chen Shi thought that Lin Yi disinfected the silver needles before carrying them on his body, so she didn't ask much. Cancer was something that Lin Yi couldn't heal with energy, but if it was in the early stages of cancer, as long as the cancer cells didn't spread, he could use energy to repair the damaged liver after removing a large area of the liver and achieve the goal of curing it. But now, the cancer cells had already spread. Lin Yi couldn't use this method at all. He could only use the second more troublesome method. He used the silver needles to seal several major acupuncture points on Mother Chen's body to prevent the cancer cells from continuing to spread. Then, Lin Yi would use his body's energy to help Mother Chen recover her vitality. Then, he would use traditional Chinese medicine to completely kill the cancer cells. In the world, there were many precedents of traditional Chinese medicine curing cancer. Although it was rare, it wasn't impossible. Lin Yi was proficient in ancient prescriptions and pharmacology. If he wanted to cure Mother Chen's illness, there was no problem at all. It was just that the process was more troublesome. He had to change different drugs according to the effect of each course of treatment. Finally, he could achieve the effect of a full recovery. The duration of this process varied from person to person. It could be very fast, or it could take years. However, with the existence of Lin Yi's energy, Mother Chen's vitality could be continuously restored by the cancerous cells until she was completely healed. However, Lin Yi had to treat Mother Chen every once in a while. This was a continuous process, and it was better to heal it all at once in the early stages. Lin Yi activated the art of dragon mastery and began to transfer energy to Mrs. Chen. Chen Shi, Xiao Xiao, and the waiter all held their breaths as they looked at Lin Yi. They didn't know what effect these silver needles would have, but when they saw Lin Yi's professional technique, they were full of trust in Lin Yi. Ugh! What happened to me? Mother Chen woke up. She touched her forehead and woke up in a daze. She opened her eyes tiredly and looked around. When she saw everyone around her and her daughter's teary face, she couldn't help but be stunned. This is, Mom, you're awake. She didn't think that her mother would wake up again. She was really afraid that her mother would never wake up again once she fainted. But, Lin Yi really woke her mother up. While she was happy, she was also secretly grateful to Lin Yi. She also made up her mind that no matter what Lin Yi wanted her to do, she would agree. I was a little sleepy just now. Did I fall asleep? Mother Chen looked down and suddenly realized that there were silver needles in her body. She was shocked. This is, Mom, you fainted just now. Thanks to this miracle doctor bro who saved you. She looked at Lin Yi and said to her mother. However, her eyes fell on Lin Yi and her face was a little red. I fainted. Mother Chen was stunned and then quickly thanked Lin Yi. Thank you so much. I didn't expect to trouble you again, it's nothing. Lin Yi shook his head and put away the silver needles. I only temporarily stabilized the cancer cells in your body, but it doesn't mean that you're cured. Where is your home? Let's walk and talk. There were outsiders in the beef noodle restaurant. Lin Yi didn't want the news of him being able to cure cancer to spread. Otherwise, he was afraid that in the future, he wouldn't need to do anything and everyone would come to him for treatment. No matter how powerful Lin Yi was, he was only one person. Moreover, he used the art of dragon mastery to cure cancer. This matter couldn't be replicated or promoted. Lin Yi didn't want to break the current medical status quo because he alone was powerless. Mother Chen didn't say anything. The smart She probably also understood Lin Yi's intention. First, he wanted to keep it a secret, and second, was he going to her house to find out who it was? Was he afraid that she wouldn't give it to him after he cured her mother? Brother Miracle Doctor, please come with me. She nodded, helped her mother up and walked towards the door without any explanation. Mother Chen didn't want her daughter to tell strangers her home address, but it had been so many years since that incident. That woman couldn't have found this place that coincidentally, and it was even more impossible for her to know Lin Yi. So she didn't say anything. Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao left the beef noodle restaurant. The waiter shook his head, thinking that Lin Yi couldn't wait to get Shi's body and complete the deal. Miracle bro, my house is this way. Shi walked out the door and gestured to the right. Get in the car, we drove here. Lin Yi pointed at Xiao Xiao's Audi TT. Although it was a sports car, it had the same backseat space as a Beetle. It was a bit troublesome to sit in, but it was okay to sit there temporarily. Mother Chen saw that they were going to get in the car and started to hesitate. She didn't know who Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao were. Although Lin Yi woke her up, she still had her guard up against strangers. But she didn't suspect anything. She nodded and pulled her mother to get in the car. She saw the miracle happen with her own eyes. Lin Yi used his medical skills to wake her mother up, so she trusted Lin Yi unconditionally. Mother Chen saw her daughter's insistence, and the two young men in front of her helped her family twice. She really didn't want to say anything in front of them. Mother Chen hesitated and followed Shi into the car. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.